All right, we are go for launch.
Good evening and welcome to the April 29th, 2026 meeting of the Henrietta Town Board. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Here.
Councilmember Stafford,
Here.
Councilmember Safranek,
Here.
Councilmember Owens,
Here.
Supervisor Schultz.
Here. We'll begin the meeting with a silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which is one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Oh, I motion to approve the minutes. Approve the minutes of the preceding meeting, April 8th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Before we proceed, just let IT know, Andrew, if you're listening, could you come and grab my tablet? I can't get to the town board information. Don't know why. One update. All right. We've got a little bit of time. I said we'll probably should.
It's your mic. It's your mic.
Okay, thanks. All right. All right. I am still going to do the Eagle Scout recognition first, since unfortunately the Eagle Scout was unable to attend. Thank you. Unfortunately, Ryan, who was originally going to attend, had a scheduling conflict, but since they will probably be watching the video, I figure we'll put it up first so that they don't have to sit through a bunch of video before they get to it. So, Rob, if you could present the resolution for Ryan Buzzard. 9170.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-170, 2026. Whereas Ryan D. Buzzard has achieved the rank of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scout Troop 750. And whereas to achieve the rank, Ryan earned merit badges in 27 disciplines, earning him a Bronze Palm Award, including a badge in music, for which Ryan is passionate about playing multiple instruments, and is a member of the RH Singers, and a badge in cycling, which is offered the community for many troop bike rides, including a 50-mile ride along the canal path from Medina to Pittsford. And whereas during the time in Scouts, Ryan held the position of troop guide, patrol leader, assistant senior patrol leader, and junior assistant scoutmaster, as well as receiving the Order of Arrow. And whereas Ryan graduates in this June from West Henrietta Senior High School, where he was a senior of the RH. He was a singer of the RH. He was a member of the RH Singers. He also Tri-M Music Honor Society, National Honor Society, the National Language Honor Society, was a member of the multiple all-county and all-state music ensembles for both orchestra and chorus, and received the New York State Seal of Literacy, as well as being inducted into both the Monroe County Youth Hall of Fame and the Henrietta Youth Hall of Fame class of 2026. And whereas Ryan plans to attend Nather University to study music education with a minor in biology. And whereas for the Eagle Project, Ryan led a team to construct and deliver 4 benches to the Sunshine Rotary Camp in Rush, New York. The camp hosts a week-long summer camp for youth living with diabetes, something Ryan also lives with. The benches were constructed in a way to be accessible to everyone and provide a place for visitors to sit and enjoy various locations around the camp. Therefore, be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board joins the Pinnacle Lutheran Church, sponsors of Troop 750, in recognizing the achievement and honor of Ryan D. Buzzard in obtaining the rank of Eagle Scout.
Second.
So when we read these things, you get very hopeful for the future. I know a lot of people, especially as they see the national news, feel a little bleak. But when you see the quality of the kids in this community and presumably elsewhere, it's really encouraging. We've already recognized Ryan earlier this month because, as mentioned, Ryan was inducted into our Youth Hall of Fame. So just an amazing list of accomplishments, and just very excited to see where he goes from here.
Just really appreciate that we get to recognize Ryan and all of his accomplishments. It is no small feat to achieve the rank of Eagle Scout, and beyond that, I love reading about all of his accomplishments with music and interest in music. And I'm glad that he's staying in the Rochester area to study music. We have I think it's a great place to study music at. So congratulations, Ryan, and to your family as well.
Reading all his accomplishments makes me wonder what instruments he's playing. He must be really talented. But I did meet him at the Youth Hall of Fame. He's a great guy.
And along with that was the languages, and
Yeah.
it's interesting because often music and languages do go hand in hand.
Yeah, I want to echo my colleagues. It is exciting to read about him. And I see not only just music he's going to study, but education. We definitely need more teachers, and a minor in biology, which is straight to my heart about biology and education. Congratulations, Ryan. I'm excited to see where he goes.
And I'd like to congratulations to Ryan also and his family, and for a great list of accomplishments and this great award being an Eagle Scout.
And so hopefully I'll be able to attend his Eagle ceremony and present the certificate to him there. When they do that, one of the neat things, if you've ever been through the Eagle ceremonies, they also present to the parents, because if you've ever been a parent of a Boy Scout, especially one pursuing Eagle, you know it's a lot of work for the parents as well. If nothing else, when they're younger, your chauffeur, including sometimes on their trips up to the Adirondacks. And then the other neat thing is they do give out a mentor pin. It's somebody who inspired them and helped them achieve the rank of Eagle Scout. So it's neat that they recognize not just the Scouts, but the individuals who helped them get there. So again, thank you very much. And unless somebody has a comment they would like to add about Ryan and his accomplishments, and seeing none, I will ask that you call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Okay, Mike, then you're up next with 171.
Okay. 171 is this.
No, I think with the infinite,
We're going back
the
to
presentation.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. The presentations. That's right. Those ones aren't resolutions. I was thinking they were resolutions, but they're not. So I guess we'll call up, is Anita? Who's doing the presentation for, okay. Wasn't sure who was doing the presentation for the ABB Association.
Good evening. I'm Anita Hawkins, the chair of the Antoinette Brown Blackwell Society. And on behalf of the board, I want to thank you all for being here at the Antoinette Brown Blackwell Society Annual Award Ceremony. Antoinette was,
I can fix it if you need. There you go.
Yeah, just, and step right up to it
is that better?
a little.
All right. Antoinette was born here in Henrietta, and she died in Elizabeth, New Jersey. She accomplished many things in her 96 years of life. She lived a life that mattered. Antoinette became the first female ordained minister in the United States. She was an author, preacher, an abolitionist, a suffragist. She was a contemporary of Susan B. Anthony, Lucy Stone, Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and Frederick Douglass. At the age of 95, Antoinette was the last of the original suffragists to cast a vote in the 1920 presidential election. If Nettie were here today, she would ask all of us who are eligible to vote to be sure and register and to cast your ballot just as she did 106 years ago. Since 1983, the Antoinette Brown Blackwell Society has been honoring women and students who put their passion into action. We have honored 43 Women of the Year and have awarded over $60,000 in scholarships to 57 students pursuing post-high school education. I'm going to introduce Hope Green to you. She's our scholarship winner in 2015 and current board member to introduce our scholarship recipients.
Thank you, Anita. As a previous scholarship recipient, I'm still blown away that I get to be in company with students like Benjamin and Samaria. Our first winner, Benjamin Arbogast, is an accomplished and well-rounded senior at Rush Henrietta Senior High School who demonstrates a strong commitment to academics, the arts, athletics, and service. He has maintained high honor roll status throughout his entire high school career, reflecting both his work ethic and dedication to excellence. Benjamin has a particular passion for the arts, where he has excelled in AP Art and Design and earned multiple recognitions, including the Rochester Institute of Technology Art and Design Scholarship Award, the Rush Henrietta Superintendent's Choice Awards for Excellence in Art, and the Outstanding Academic Achievement in Art Award. In addition to his artistic talents, Benjamin has been an active participant in athletics. He's competed in cross country, serving as team co-captain in 2025, and also participated in indoor and outdoor track. His leadership extends beyond sports. He is a member of the National Honor Society and Rush Henrietta Natural Helpers, where he supports and guides his peers. Benjamin is deeply involved in his community and faith. He serves as a youth group leader at St. Mary Ann Cope Parish and altar serves at St. John of Rochester several times each month. He volunteers his time with El Camino Rochester Trail Maintenance, St. John of Rochester Vacation Bible School, and local town of Henrietta events such as the Holiday Lights and Magic and the Valentine's Day celebration. Through these efforts, he consistently demonstrates a willingness to give back and make a positive impact. Outside of school and volunteering, Benjamin works as a youth gymnastics instructor and takes private piano lessons, continuing to develop both his leadership and creative abilities. Reflecting on his journey, Benjamin shares, "I'm very pleased with where I am along the way on this journey, and I have my relationship with God to credit. He gives me the courage to come out of my shell and be who I want to be. As I go on to college, I plan to continue my journey alongside God as I seek to follow his path, while carrying on with all the activities and passions I've picked up thus far. With his strong foundation in academics, creativity, leadership, and service, Benjamin is well prepared to continue making meaningful contributions in the next chapter of his life. Congratulations." Would you like to say a few words?
I would like to thank the Antoinette Brown Blackwell Society for selecting me as a recipient of this award, and as well as my track coach, Mike DeMay, my art teacher, Franchella Smith, and my piano instructor, Diane Habib, and especially my parents, Karen and Jeff Arbogast, for helping me become the person I am today. Thank you.
Our next winner, Samaria Miret. Samaria is an exceptionally talented student with both a natural ability and an eagerness to excel. In her bio sketch, Samaria says that it's her understanding that leadership is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about creating space for others, noticing what goes unseen, and offering stability when things feel uncertain. She finds herself drawn to roles where care and understanding matter more than recognition. Her academic record reflects exceptional rigor and consistency. She maintained a 4.0 GPA throughout high school. Samaria's coursework included AP, Honors, Regent, CTE, and dual credit college subjects. She participated in a surgery internship at the University of Rochester. She shadowed surgeons across multiple divisions, observed complex procedures, and practiced clinical skills under supervision. She concluded her internship with a research presentation titled Reversing Cancer Drug Resistance, Strategies for Resensitizing Relapsed Tumors in Underserved Communities. Samaria truly has a commitment to a scientific curiosity, compassion, and health equity. Her professionalism earned her a certificate of completion and mayoral recognition for her dedication to public health and patient well-being. In addition to her academics, her community engagement is equally impressive. Samaria saw a need in her church to help younger children learn about their culture and etiquette. She is teaching them Amaharuk, the official language of Ethiopia. She has a total of 250 plus hours in volunteer service at many events in our community and as a preparation volunteer at the Henrietta Recreation Center, Multicultural Neighbor to Neighbor Day, and organized college and career fairs. Her school activities include student council, budget advisory board, diversity club, Board of Education student representative, DECA vice president, and RIT STEP program. She completed another internship, WeBiz Launchpad, where she designed a personal website. This is just a few of her achievements. As you can see, Samaria is a student of exceptional character. Here is a quote from her bio sketch. I am driven not just by ambition, but by a deep belief in care, connection, and the quiet power of truly seeing people. That is the foundation of who I am and the future I am determined to build. She will be studying pre-med at the University of Rochester in the fall. We wish you continued success as you build your future. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
First and foremost, I want to start by saying thank you to God. I wouldn't be here without him. And next, I would like to give special thanks to my parents, especially my dad. I wouldn't be here without them. Ever since I was young, they've instilled in me the values of education and the importance of respecting people and treating everyone with kindness. So I want to say thank you, Dad. The values that you've instilled in me have obviously driven me far. And I also want to give special thanks to everyone who's here tonight. I also want to say thank you to the scholarship committee. I'm honored to be recognized in this scholarship, and it feels nice that my hard work is being recognized in this manner. So thank you, everyone.
And here is May Abdullah, our 2025 Henrietta Woman of the Year, to introduce this year's Woman of the Year.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I have the honor of introducing the Antoinette Brown Blackwell 2026 Henrietta Woman of the Year. Emily Richardson, would you like to join me? I was given clear instructions, that's what. As a longtime member and current president of the Relief Society of the Church of Latter-day Saints, Emily has given thousands of hours to families and individuals in need of food, employment, shelter, and comfort. Requests for help even come in the middle of the night from someone needing shelter from an abusive situation. She has helped women find work and connect with community resources that will help them provide for their families. She has done everything from helping to clean an apartment, assisting a new mother, or planning a funeral. And she's done all of this with empathy and compassion. A mother of 5 children, she has and continues to actively participate in many school organizations. Her volunteer activities include serving as the treasurer and vice president of the Winslow Elementary School Parent-Teacher Organization, as a teacher's aide and math tutor from 2013 to 2020, as a den leader and cub master and an Odyssey of the Mind coach from 2018 to 2020. As a member of the Rush Henrietta Singers Board since 2020, Emily has served as corresponding secretary, recording secretary, vice president, and president. She has assisted with the costume production and organization of cast celebrations for Roth Junior High and Rush Henrietta High School musicals. It is important to note that Emily's first priority is her family. She is raising successful, well-loved, and compassionate children who have been recognized by their school. To quote from her nomination, her community work is a natural extension of her commitment to family. She possesses such an abundance of care that she strengthens not only her own home, but hundreds of others. Congratulations.
You gonna say something? Can't get away that easy.
Just in case I have some more. Thank you all. This is a very unexpected, but yet very meaningful and humbling award to receive. We love Henrietta so much, and we've loved raising our 5 kids here. I wanted to thank the committee who put together the criteria for this award. I really love that you chose to highlight and elevate the role and the value of volunteers within our community. So much of the work that needs to be done in this world to make it a better place is not paid work. It is coming together of individuals with no motivation other than love and a desire to make a positive impact. I have found so much joy in service, and I have been very privileged to join and work with many great people and organizations in Henrietta and Monroe County. There's a certain spirit of love that can only be felt when service is given from the heart. This can be felt from the giver and the receiver, and I believe it ripples through our community. Thank you again.
Good evening. I'm Tina Thompson, the town historian, and it is my privilege to introduce the county legislators who represent Henrietta. Richard Milne is with us this evening, Michael Udalson, and Dr. Najis Jeffrey, and she has a presentation for our winners.
Thank you so much. I'm so pleased and honored to be here to be able to provide these certificates of recognition for all of these amazing individuals. Their biographies have really highlighted just the amazing accomplishments that they have done within our community. And I think it really speaks to the fact that community loves giving back, and these individuals have exemplified that to the highest degree. I'm so proud to be able to present these certificates to you all. Emily? Maria? And Benjamin? Thank you.
And we have certificates from our town board.
We're going down there?
So again, these type of things are some of the more exciting. If you think, we enjoy doing the special use permits, no. This is the stuff we enjoy doing. So, again, we've got certificates for Emily. Anyone taking photos? Anyone? Yep. You're all right. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I also have certificates from Assembly Member Harry Bronson's office. He was not able to be with us this evening, and I will give them to the recipients downstairs. We have cookies and strawberry and punch reception waiting for everyone, so please join us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, we can't.
That's right. The cookies will probably be stale by the time we're done with this.
But please feel free to go and enjoy the fun things.
All right, for the public hearings. First up, we have special use permit application number 2026-005, Rock Barbecue Supply LLC, 1225 Jefferson Road, to serve food samples at tasting events and to teach classes involving food preparation. Do you have a representative? Please introduce yourself. Go ahead and pull the microphone. Yeah, perfect. And say who you are and how you're related to the project.
My name is George Love. I'm the owner of Rock Barbecue Supply, and I'm the only employee, so I am the project.
All right.
And
Mike, could you pull that door shut? Oh, thanks.
I'm so sorry to be the first one to take away from the exciting part.
That's right.
Well, I've been to your store, and that would be exciting too. Get
That's
those,
right.
Yeah. Who's against free samples, you know?
That's right.
I know what salt, what seasoning to buy.
I got a lot. I got a whole ton.
I've been there a few times. They're all good.
Yeah, we try.
All right. So I mean, technically this comes in because of the fun of town code. It comes in as a restaurant application, but obviously in terms of like you said, it's going to be sampling and classes. And,
yep.
All right. I don't really have a whole lot of questions. I think this one's pretty straightforward, but I don't know if anybody else has questions.
Where are you cooking the food?
So I specialize in outdoor cooking, so outside, which really simplifies the entire process.
Right.
We won't need to install hoods or anything like that. And almost because it's samples, almost everything is going to be disposable. So even though I'm still going through the process, getting hand wash things put in and getting a big 3-base sink for any cleaning I have to make sure that everything's above board, because I realize that there's a large amount of this that is going to replicate that of a restaurant. And I figure if I'm going to have all the licensing, then down the road, I might start making sausage or something like that. Not on a restaurant level, but as a retail store. And since it's all going to be there, might as well put the infrastructure in.
Sounds great.
My apologies. So you are planning to cook outside where, in the parking lot area?
Behind the building.
Behind the building.
Yep,
Okay. And is there an area that's been sectioned off for this?
It's not sectioned off. It's just it's basically a road back there, but I've measured out that the grills need to be 15 feet away from the building, and there is space. It was actually the last thing I did before I came over here.
You said that you're going to do some teaching classes. Like what kind of classes?
So essentially, it's difficult because it's not an official cooking space, so there isn't cook spaces but grinding meat and stuffing sausages and trimming briskets and mostly preparation style things for people who are looking to improve their backyard barbecue game.
Okay, so pretty much open to the community.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Is there permission from the plaza owners with regards to the outdoor grill?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, that was discussed when I first signed my lease 2.5 years ago.
So, is it our understanding you're moving to a different location? Are you moving to a different location?
Yes, but it's literally next door.
Okay.
Yeah. So
okay.
It's if there was a window between the two, the answer would be no. So.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to your store several times. Met you there, but okay. I really don't have any questions. It sounds like a great idea. And you'd have some great products in there too.
I trying to do something a little different, a little fun.
Right.
Is there a plan for any seating or anything along those lines?
Nope. No intention of becoming an actual restaurant, at least not at this time. I'll go down that rabbit hole should the day come.
So the samples will be cooked outside, but they'll be served inside the store. Is that
Correct,
the
yeah.
idea? Okay. And is this going to be year round?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Usually at events, it won't just be come in every single day and there's something,
Yeah.
but it'll be this Saturday, we're sampling this, but this brand will be in. And
Right.
I'm just not a fan of what I call sauces and spoons. That's less fun. I'd rather get a sponsorship through a local butcher and get some chicken wings or something and, all work together. I'm a big community, bring people together, kind of rising tides kind of thing.
Sounds good.
All right.
Any other questions from the board?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the public? And hearing and seeing none, well, actually, let me check. Anyone online? Any questions online?
Nothing online.
All right, and hearing and seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-005. Somebody wish to make a motion?
Mr. Supervisor, I make a motion to approve special use permit application number 2026-005. Rock Barbecue Supply LLC, 1225 Jefferson Road, to serve sample at tasting events and teaching classes involving food preparation.
I will second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Hi.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Congratulations, and look forward to stopping by and trying some samples.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, we have public hearing for special use permit application number 2026-006 Emerald Events, 2199 East Henrietta Road, to modify the previously approved special use permit to now also allow outdoor seating with loud entertainment. Application number 2025-0019 was to operate an event space and banquet hall with dining service, bands, DJs, or other similar loud entertainment, and to serve alcohol. Right, can you introduce yourselves and your relationship to the project?
Danielle Howe, owner.
Ivy Howell, co-owner.
Great. Explain what you're looking to do.
Okay, so there's an outside area that's fenced in towards the end of the venue. You guys have a copy of it. We plan on having some outside events if we want to have a kid party, a gender reveal.
Okay, thank you.
Just an outside area that we want to be able to utilize. It won't be like consistent, only as needed. Maybe one Sunday out the month or a Saturday between the hours of 4 and 8. We want to kind of get people gone by 9 p.m., get everything cleaned up. I am currently looking to do a wedding reception out there. I've been getting some, it's summer coming, and only be for the summer months. Give back, gender reveals, just small gatherings.
So, from what I've seen, it doesn't look like there's any direct connection from that outdoor space to your indoor space. Is that correct?
Correct. You have to come out the front of my door and walk to the end of Bob's Diner and then cross over the little area. So it sits in the corner.
And were you planning to have alcohol out there?
I applied for my liquor license, which is a catering license, where it allows me to serve liquor in outside on the premises.
So would you actually have like a mini bar out there?
I would set
Or were you
something
gonna-
up like a portable bar, because I have the portable one. I'm also a licensed bartender.
And I guess, how you, I'm just, and same thing with the food then. Are you cooking the food out there? Are you bringing the food over from the restaurant?
If we have something out there, we will have catering. So he likes to cook, like the guy just said on the grill, jerk chicken. So he would cook like jerk chicken, stuff like that. Whatever needs to be cooked. If we have to bring in like already food made, we will do that also.
So you would have like a table set up and the chafing dishes and all
It's the
that sort of
chafing
thing,
dishes, the warmers.
and serve
I'm an
like
event
a
planner,
buffet
so I have
style
all the
thing.
chafers where you light the bottom and heats all the food up
Mhm.
and everything.
And were you planning to have entertainment out there?
Yes. Not loud though. Like the stand-up speakers. We're gonna have like the portable speakers. I have like 2 of those for BJ's. You can adjust them. And we was gonna have the stage, if we was to do entertainment, the stage in the corner where it's like this way, so the music will be facing the parking lot.
I believe that you mentioned before we started that you had spoken with some of the neighbors.
I
What,
walked around, this is before I even thought about doing it there, just to hand out my business cards saying we're moving here. And they was pretty receptive. Thanks. We put cards in mailboxes. We just walked around to meet people. That's all.
Is that the business neighbors or the
The
residents?
business neighbors and the residents, because if you come out my back area, it's like a walk area to the back. It's like one house right there. But if
Yeah.
you go down like a trail,
Yeah.
that's where you see the rest of the houses at.
Yeah, it's just to be clear for people not familiar with the location, it's about 230 feet to the nearest single family residence. And there's probably a total of 20 single family residents within 500 feet of that exterior event space. So
When you chatted with the people, did you say that was when you were first opening the business, or did you tell them about the outdoor business?
No, we just was telling them about the outdoor, just the business in general. We
The
never
business,
said
not-
the outdoor or anything. We just walked around, handed out cards, let them know we're gonna be your new neighbors. We're coming into the area.
But it was prior to the outdoor.
It was prior. The reason I wanted the outside is because I was getting calls about doing like a gender reveal. Someone wanted to do a gender reveal outside. I guess you use confetti and stuff outside and blow it up and it shows you like it's a boy, it's a girl. And I said, well, let me just call the town and make sure it's okay, because I don't know.
is there any plan to do any improvements, in that fenced-in area?
Just the weeds things on the. Clear it up and. Clear it up, because it's like, I don't know what was in there before, but it's like old mattresses and stuff in the weeds in there. We was gonna just clean it out.
And have you spoken with the plaza owner or any of the businesses that surround that area about your plan?
Yes, the
And
business owner actually gave me a email. I printed it and sent it
We got
to
that.
everyone. He approved it.
I have some issues because it's not adjacent, right adjacent, you know, if it was.
Yeah,
right
it's not
behind the place,
adjacent.
So you could,
It's,
it's down a ways and, so if they were there and at a party and needed the restroom, they would have to walk back. You're not gonna have.
no, so, I do have not the porta potties, it's the trailers. We spoke with them. We already got a quote from them to rent the trailers where you can walk in and use the bathroom, the trailer style, no, not the porta potties. I also presented that to the town.
How long have you been in this space and how often have you been using it prior to this?
I haven't used it yet. They just started I just got my building permit. They're actually in the inside working now as we speak.
Okay. Were you doing this somewhere else besides here?
I just will go to different locations and decorate and set up, do events. I had a event space in Pittsford, but it was very shortly, 3300 Monroe Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
We opened the venue not knowing that event space wasn't allowed in the town.
Okay.
So as soon as we opened, I had to shut it.
So that's over by Marshall's, right over in that area?
Right in that, right next door to Marshall's in that building.
so this would be seasonal? You wouldn't be doing it all year round?
No.
Would there be a plan to put in any like those tents or pop-ups or canopies or anything along those lines?
So what we planned on doing is I got in contact with the guy that's gonna be, he runs the Care Fest. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, the Care Fest. He does all the barriers and stuff, so we'll have that in place so that like the traffic will be under control. We also is in contact with Christopher Brown, who is a security, fail-safe security. He's a VIP. We in contract with him. If we was to keep an event outside, we're not gonna have an event inside. If we're gonna keep an event inside, we're not gonna have an event outside. But in case someone do wanna utilize both areas, he has the staff to cover everything.
You know, one of the things that concerns me, you talk about music outside. We have residential area right down the hill from where you are. That's it's pretty busy plaza for the most part where you guys are, even though that is off to the side. When you say music and entertainment, what kind of entertainment are you doing? Just regular playing Bluetooth stuff? Do you have a band there? What do you think?
Bluetooth, maybe a band, but that's why we wanted to limit it now to a certain hours, because we don't want it to be like it'll be disturbing somebody. If we're doing it Monday through Friday, that's not our intentions. We just want to be able to utilize it when it's possible. Maybe one Sunday out the month, holidays or something like that, when the plaza is not busy. Because that's what I did. I went over and on a Sunday and I seen that there's really nobody in the plaza on Sundays. Everything closed at 2:00. So I wouldn't be disturbing the neighbors in the plaza, and that's why.
Okay.
How many, so you would probably have to bring in like seating and things like that and have that all set up when you do your event. How many people would you be planning for at the most for one of these events?
I think outside, less than 100.
Under 100? Okay.
Under 100 outside. My inside holds a lot of people though.
Your inside, how many would you?
Around 285.
Okay.
Inside.
I didn't go back into the fenced in spot, but I looked in, I saw the mattresses, some people threw their garbage in there, I could see. But to me, it looked like the asphalt itself was in rough shape.
The concrete, we looked at that too. It
Okay.
is, but it's not nowhere where you can trip over or like
Okay.
hurt yourself.
Like I said, I didn't go inside. I was just able
I
to
had
from,
to take a video of her walking around it so I had to upload it. I think once it's cleaned up and it'll look good again.
So where we're at, so like I just searched through just to make sure because I hadn't heard about it and I looked through to see if I missed it somehow. I didn't find any mention of the toilet, so that was, some of the things we've raised the issues. Right now, we have the resolution to deny because there's a number of issues. You brought up some stuff that could potentially mitigate it. What I might suggest, I just don't think there's any way we can get comfortable with that today. What I might suggest is that you could come into town hall what I'll propose is that we table this decision and that you can come in and meet with myself and maybe one other board member at a time, and that way we can go over what you're looking at and see if there's any ways. The denial resolution raises the issues that we have with the application, and so we could go over those and see is there a way to mitigate them. And I'll just get to the what they are. One is the disconnect and the walking with the drinks potentially between them. It was raised about the issue of having to essentially more difficult monitoring the two locations at once. And especially, because we didn't understand, there was no mention of the restroom trailers. We assumed that then people would have to walk back to your building to use the restroom, and there'd be a lot of traffic back and forth, which is difficult to monitor. So that was an issue that was brought up, which obviously would create a disruption for the plaza itself. It could also, encourage essentially what I believe are violations of open container law, although I'm no expert on liquor license. But the second thing then is with that close proximity to all those residential houses, how do we deal with, that noise and that type of stuff? So one of the things that can happen is if you come in and can come up with solutions. So like I said, like the restroom, like the fact that you would only have an activity going either indoors or outdoors, but not both at the same time.
That's what I said.
Right. No, I understand that. But so to pass that, we would have to write a resolution that puts restrictions on the special use permit. And again, with the number and just, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I just, again, knowing the discussion about this previously at the workshop on Monday night, I just don't know that we'd be able to. I think you would hurt your chance by having us try to rule on it tonight. And so what I would suggest is that during the week, next week and the week after, come in. We can set up an appointment and just come in and sit with us. We'll have the fire marshal there. We'll have, someone from the building department there, go over their concerns as well. I'll bring the concerns from the town board. Again, if one of the other town board members wants to provide an additional voice. The issue is if we have 3 of us under open meetings law, it's now a public hearing. It has to be advertised. So that's why I'm saying one other board member at a time. But if we had like 2 different meetings, it could be 2 different of us to go over. But the idea is, it sounds like you've thought about the very issues that we're raising. And so is there a way to come up and resolve, to mitigate all those issues such that, you might be able to do this? But like I said, as of right now, I'm not comfortable there. It sounds like I could get there from what you've talked about, but I'd want to see those spelled out and presented as potential ways to mitigate this. And then we would write an approval resolution that has all the conditions that say, you have to have a restroom facility there, you have to have the mini bar outside, you'd have to have the
barriers.
So you guys didn't get any of that stuff I sent in?
we did, but when I looked through the packet, I didn't see where it says that, so I just looked through it.
All that has.
Also, Danielle, consider your crowd control outside. 100 people outside in that area is a lot of people.
She
That
has
would,
the security company there.
I understand that. That's a lot of people with that residential area down.
Right, and so those are the types of things we would put on there.
I gave a lot of, I sent a lot of stuff.
Yeah, hang on one second.
Yep. Yeah, I just looked at what's in our SUP info, and there's a bunch of stuff in there, but
not very well.
But not all the stuff that you just discussed. No, I just looked again. I don't see it.
Give me a second.
So, so you have
I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just saying it for whatever reason, it didn't. Those things didn't get to us. So like I said,
Let's make sure that we can pull it all
Yeah.
together into one piece and make sure that we've got everything documented, all the I's dotted and the T's crossed, so that we can make sure that you're comfortable and everyone up here is
right.
comfortable.
And again, we'll go through all of the things that the issues that were raised. So to make sure you hit them all so that it's referred to basically our job for the way the special use permit applications work is we basically say, here are some potential adverse impacts from this. And then you have to say, well, here's how I'm going to mitigate that. So again, the issue of getting drinks inside and walking outside, well, that can be mitigated by always having a mini bar inside the fenced in area, right? You've just now checked that one off the list, right? The outdoor restrooms, that takes care of the issue of the constant walking back. The issue of being able to monitor both sites effectively, that can be mitigated by only having one or the other. So we can just go right down the list and you offer mitigation. And then what happens is those become conditions of the special use permit. And so that way, and it's, as I always talk about, one of the things that people don't always understand, the special use permit doesn't just stay with you, it stays with the property. So if you ever sell this and someone else takes over, it affects them as well. So that's why we often put it, there's some people who say, well, you don't trust me, as it's not about that. We don't know who's going to take over after you either. So by putting those conditions on there, then if the next proprietors come in and say, well, we're not going to bother with the bathroom because it's too expensive, well, then we can say, no, you've got to do it, or else you can lose your special use permit. So that's the purpose of doing it that way. So once you've mitigated those issues, those mitigations become conditions on the special use permit. And that way we can ensure to your neighbors that, hey, the promises they made, they're going to keep. So does that make sense?
It makes sense.
All right. What I'm going to do is see if there's anybody else who has any comments, and then I'm going to make a motion that we table this until the next meeting.
Yes.
Good idea.
And I see the barriers, the crowd barriers. Do you plan on leaving the fence up too, though? Or
We're leaving it.
okay, because I actually thought that was a good idea because it was all
It was already fenced in.
right. It's all
It was a good thing, 'cause no one would be outside the fence. Everybody
Right.
would be-
Yeah, that's
and
right.
it does have all the plastic, so you can't
plastic,
see
you
it.
Can't see what's
Right.
going on inside.
Right. Okay. But when I saw the barriers, I'm thinking
Because
they're-
when I first got the notice, it was saying how we would protect the parking lot.
right.
So
Okay.
That's
That
when I
was for
got
the
in contact.
okay.
That
That-
was the word for Rochester.
Okay. And have the neighbors all been notified? Were they all notified?
Typically, they do it, I don't remember what the radius is. I think it's 250 feet. So I don't know about all the neighbors, but anyone who's whose property, the distances I gave you before were to the actual houses.
Right.
But it's actually, if it touches any part of that property in that radius. But what we'll do is, maybe what we'll do is expand it out to 500 feet and just encourage them during the week. If they've got comments, send them to us via emails. So I'm going to give you an email now. It's supervisor@henriettany.gov. And that way What's it?
Why is it added?
We had to add it for the .gov.
I remember hearing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was frustrating because Henrietta.gov is available.
Right.
But the folks who run the .gov extension require us to add the NY.
So it's .gov and why?
HenriettaNY.gov, yep, supervisor at HenriettaNY.gov. Send me an email and we'll get you on the calendar to meet.
Okay.
Is there anyone from the public who came here for this public hearing who wishes to speak? Is there anyone online? All right, then I'm not going to close the public hearing because I'm going to propose that we table the decision on this special use permit till next week. So we will keep the public here, or not next week, next meeting, which is in 3 weeks, so May 20th.
Okay.
We will keep this public hearing open.
Second.
Right.
So I need to get in contact with you before.
Yes,
Okay.
you're going to want to do it.
Email 'em or-
Yeah, next week would be perfect. Yeah, so send me an email.
Contact him this week so you can set it up for
Right.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah, the way my calendar works, there's a lot of openings next week. By the time we get to Monday, it'll be pretty full. Perfect. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reverend.
Thank you. So I will just close this session of the public hearing, but the public hearing will remain open until the May 20th meeting. Okay, next up, we have special use permit application number 2026-007 Hertz Car Rental, 2199 East Henrietta Road to operate a car rental facility. All right, come on up. Hello, could you introduce yourself and your relationship to the project?
I'm Jennifer Cologne. I'm the Hertz Real Estate Director.
And I'm Tom Wilshins. I'm the area manager for
All right, so just one thing right off the bat. There is some question as to whether car rental is allowed in a commercial B2 district. So we're not going to vote on this one tonight because we've got to resolve that before we can rule on this. Unfortunately, the way the code was written years ago, there are two kind of contradictory things in the code. So under 295-16A, there's one that says any other commercial or business use that is not specifically enumerated herein unless prohibited by 216B. Okay. So that's kind of what you guys come in under. But then in 216B, it says any use not specifically enumerated herein above is prohibited. So which is it, right? And one can argue that because the A says unless prohibited by B, and B says it's prohibited unless enumerated, since it's not enumerated, it's prohibited, therefore the A clause is meaningless. It's really ambiguous, and we're going to take a look at that. Go ahead.
Just a question. So the prohibited except for a special use permit application, or you're saying
That it's not permitted at all. Now, what I will say is if that's the case, we will obviously refund your application because when they look at it, they didn't necessarily see, they looked through and say, oh, car rental facilities aren't expressly prohibited. That other catch-all clause is kind of strange. So we're going to have some discussions. If you have a zoning or real estate attorney who's helping you with the project and you want to put them in touch with me, and I'll connect them with our attorney so we can have this discussion, because it's really going to be an attorney discussion to an extent. We'll have that, but in the meantime, we'll go through a little bit on the assumption that, let's say it is proven legal, because there are, again, like the last one, there are some concerns that we think would have to be mitigated in order to go forward. But, you know, like I said, we can't approve this one until we determine how those two conflicting clauses really play out. When I first read it, it seems to me that, again, because car rental is enumerated in neither list, that the A says it's allowed with a special use permit unless prohibited by B. B says it's prohibited if it's not listed in A. It's not expressly listed in A, therefore it seems to me it's prohibited. Therefore, in A, since it says unless it's prohibited in B, but again, I'm going to let the attorneys figure that out. And I did check, by the way, and I could find no other car rental facilities in a commercial B2 district. We do have them in some commercial B1s. We do have them in some industrial zones, but not in the B2. And the B2s are generally, they're in these strips along, used to be, you know, they're main roads that used to be residential houses, and there's typically right up back to residential houses. That's not a huge deal for the car rental facility, although we typically, you know, this is one of the things, for like the car dealerships that get huge, they're limited, if you read our code, they're limited to West Henrietta Road from Jefferson Road to Lehigh Station Road. So that's where you'll see all the car rentals, car dealerships, but you also see a number of car rental facilities there as well, because that's generally where we have the bigger parking lots, that type of stuff. There are a couple places where there are some smaller specialty dealerships, and then even a couple smaller rental facilities elsewhere in the town, but like I said, not in the commercial B2 zone. So we're going to have to look at that.
If I may, I'm curious as to why you identified that particular area. It is kind of an unusual area for a car rental place.
Well, it's not unusual at all. We have 750 locations, and a good majority of them are in shopping centers. We actually are in a B2 district obviously not in the town of Henrietta. I think we're in Fairport, I want to say. It's East Rochester. There you go. So the zoning, has typically been subject to this special use. We find it a good synergy in some of our shopping centers. We don't have the market to, have a standalone location with a large lot. It would be kind of a smaller center. That would be one of our models. We have the larger standalone building, large shopping center. Sometimes we're in the desk in the lobby of a hotel. We have that kind of brand. We partner with dealerships where we will do insurance replacement, and so we will service, right on site. So we're very flexible and creative with the types of uses. This is an underutilized shopping center. The landlord was kind of happy to help bring us on board. We sign national corporate leases, so you're not getting like a local LLC. You're getting the full faith and backing of a Fortune 500 company.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we are in a lot of shopping centers. It's a long way to answer that, but yeah.
And in these smaller rentals spaces, how many parking spaces would you typically use, like on a really busy time?
Generally, for most of our locations, whereas like in the fleet, there may be somewhere between like 50 and 60 cars, but if those cars are on the ground, we're not making any money. So generally, obviously things fluctuate with holidays and returns and stuff, but it's usually not more than like 10 to 15 cars, like in the
At a given time.
At any given time. Because if there's more, generally we can have places that need more. It's the case.
Okay.
I
was just gonna say, so like I said, one of the things that we're gonna, start proceeding on these questions is to understand the application and what kind of mitigation. Because one of the things, just so you know, the plaza owner did some time ago, and I don't even know if it's the current owner or the previous owner, but they came in and they wanted the car wash there. And one of the things we talked about is you're now taking up a bunch of available parking space. And with the tenants they had at the time, that was okay. But we said, this could potentially impact future tenants because of available parking space. So one of the things that our concern is there's not a ton of customer parking close by the buildings of the portion of the suite you're in. And so this is what we're going to be going at with respect to, is there enough space to have your rental fleet and customer parking for all the other folks in there? If you were at the southern end of the plaza where there's the big parking field, probably not as much of an issue, but where you're located, it is a little tight. So that's some of what we're going to be looking at. So go ahead.
Sorry, I actually, not to interrupt, but I know as, just a response to that, because when speaking with the landlord, when we were looking at the property, there definitely is not a great deal of parking over there. Like we said, there'd probably only be about maybe 5 spaces that we could use that's right directly there. But on the opposite end of the car wash, on the other side, they said that the parking there is relatively underutilized, and that we could keep any access over there. It was simply.
Yeah, so again, those are some of the stuff that we will be looking at as far as how to potentially mitigate some of the issues that we're talking about.
So for my day job, I run a lot of cars, several times a month, and I use a car, one of the rental places on West Henrietta Road, and all the time I'm in there, or most all the time, I should say, I'm in there. There's always people going in that are using the car dealership, getting their car fixed, renting a car. And it sounds like you'd be doing the same thing. Is there a reason why you wouldn't want to be right on West Henrietta Road, closer to the car dealerships where there's available spots? There's available.
So we have a.
Could you be close to the mic when you talk?
Apologies. Yes, we have been in the New Look location, right, which was the, do you remember where that was? Okay, yeah. So we were in a dealership location. We know of longer, it was a company called New Look. I'm
Okay.
not local to the area, so I'm
New Look,
really not
okay.
sure where that was.
That's
specifically.
Right, there's besides the car dealerships, there's an old bank. I think that was 3460.
Yeah, Marine Midland was there.
And then
So we utilize a broker, original broker who, helps us find spaces. And this was sort of just the best mix of available in our price range with the number of spots in consideration for the type of volume we anticipate. As I said, if this were a larger market, we would look at a freestanding location and invest heavily. For a smaller operation, we felt like this would fit for, and even, so we have, like I said, different levels. And so if we were on a counter with a few spaces in a dealership, that would be another level. So this is maybe like a step 2.
And New Look was sold to Gerber, and it's now a collision center.
Right.
So it's a collision center for a dealership. But so with respect to that, would this location have a garage facility at all, or would you send it to another location for any repairs, anything, maintenance?
Yeah, all maintenance. We already have a maintenance facility at the airport on Ajax Road there. So we would send all our maintenance over there. We wouldn't do anything.
Okay.
How about just the cleaning and car wash? I mean, cleaning the. We would utilize the car wash facilities, right?
Right there.
Okay, yeah. Because I know, when I go to one of your competitors, they have a facility right there where they have the car wash in, they have the vacuum, they clean the car, the vacuum in your car and everything else.
So but
it's indoor.
Well, Ruby does have both. They have the car wash and they do have the vacuum. So they would be able to do that on site if they needed to.
Any security concerns with regards to the vehicles?
No, generally not a concern in the area, honestly. But we obviously, we keep that as our top priority, obviously. So we have the keys to safe the cars up at night. Make sure we keep an eye on cameras and tracking devices.
And what sort of hours of operation would you be thinking for this type of location?
Sure. It would be 8 to 5 Monday through Friday to start with. Potentially, we would try to add a Saturday hours from 9 to noon. Closed on Sunday.
Okay.
And Tom, how many employees are you looking to have at the location?
Probably 2. We have a manager and then an employee there as well. I mean, obviously we fluctuate depending on volume, but I feel confident saying probably two would be.
You sell any cars from the location? Any sales from there?
No.
Okay, thanks.
You mentioned 15 cars. I mean, is it viable to have a rental car place with only 15 cars? Is that?
No, that's how many he's saying are there's 50
Yeah.
or so, of
Sitting
which
in a lot.
15 would be sitting in the lot.
Right, but that means you got to keep bringing cars in.
Yes.
Well,
During-
I mean, starting off, because it's the fun juggling act that I have to do on the daily, because like, we have locations where they'll have a fleet of, they'll have 100 cars in their fleet, but, at any given point, I mean, honestly, like if we have more than 20 cars on the ground at a location, we either have to move them out to a location that's going to utilize those cars, or not. If they're on the ground, they're not making money.
Right.
Try to keep them out as much as we can.
And what are the locations? I know you've got the airport. Where else are you around this location?
Sure, yeah, we have a location, in Gates, and we have a location in Irondequoit and Rochester. Yeah, in Webster.
Are any of those locations in a plaza like what you're describing where you want to be?
The one in East Rochester is in a plaza. It's almost the same type of setup. It's on the corner with an old bank. Same type of thing. It's in the
Okay.
Rochester. Was that Summit there was a bank down there?
I'm not sure.
I think it was.
Apparently the getting state complicated.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Is there anyone from the public who wishes to ask any questions or provide any feedback? Anyone online? Okay, so as I said, we're going to table this. I will say, very happy to see when plaza owners are aggressive in trying to fill their plazas. We don't like to see empty rundown plazas. Like, unfortunately, we have one famously or infamously is Southtown Plaza. It's not in great shape, and we don't like to see that. So very happy that these plaza owners are going out and doing stuff, and like I said, we'll see whether this fits, and have some discussion there. And then if so, what would do is, as I mentioned the last one, we will take a look at and say, so I understand you have some potentially dedicated spaces for your fleet right behind you, kind of in the back or to the side of the building. And then what we could do is say that, any above that number of seat, for your fleet would have to be parked on the other side of, that's largely unused space on the far side of the car wash. Because again, if you look at the parking lot, it's not a giant parking lot in front of that portion of the plaza. Yeah.
The dance studio is nice up there.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
And the Play Palace there.
Yeah. So, all right. So again, sorry we can't address this now, but we just there's the legal question that came up, and then again there'll be some potential stuff that we can talk about to mitigate. I don't know if I have your contact from the application, but if one of you could send an email again to supervisor@henriettany.gov, we can then coordinate and have a discussion as far as let you know where we are with the legal. I do have the email for the plaza owner, so I will loop him in as well. Or at least the representative of the ownership group. He's the same person who was on your application, so. All right, thank you. So again, I'm gonna make a motion that we table this, and that we will hold the public hearing open until the May 20th.
A second.
Yeah.
Thank you. So again, I will close this session of public hearing, but keep it open till the 20th. All right. Next up, we have a 3-for-1 special, and I think 3 years in a row attendee for our ABB awards. Peter always seems to be presenting around this time when we present the ABB. So we have up I'm going to read all three since it's all interrelated. We're going to treat them all as one and have one presentation, one set of questions, whole 9 yards. But I'll read all three special use permits. So first up is, or again, we'll be doing them all at the same time, but the first application is special use permit application number 2026-008, Marketplace Mixed Use Modification, 34 West Henrietta Road, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 1100, 1200, and 1220 Miracle Mile Drive, and a future 1400 Miracle Mile Drive to allow a mixed-use development on parcels including industrial, medical, office, commercial, residential, civic, and school components. And so for those who are unaware, there was a previous application for mixed use that they laid them out when U of R was first brought into the mall. So this would be updating that to look at the new configuration. Associated with that, we have special use permit application number 2026-009 and incentive zoning application number 2026-001. Mary Cariola Children's Center Incorporated, 3400 West Henrietta Road and 25 Miracle Mile Drive to operate a supportive educational institute. And then we have special use permit application number 2026-010. University of Rochester Medical Clinic Expansion and Intellectual and Development Disabilities Institute, 3400 West Henrietta Road, and 15 Miracle Mile Drive to redevelop components of the former Marketplace Mall for a medical research and related uses facility. All right. Peter, please introduce yourself and your relationship to the project.
Yes, good evening. My name is Peter Vars from BME Associates. We are appearing tonight on behalf of the three applicants, including Wilmerite, the owner of Marketplace Mall, the Mary Cariola Children's Center, and the University of Rochester. Representatives of all three entities are here with me this evening, and both representatives from the university and Mary Cariola will speak after I do, just to explain to you their mission and the reason why the Marketplace Mall property is the right location for them. We also have representatives of both architectural teams here this evening in case you have any questions about the proposed buildings. As mentioned, we're here to request 3 special use permits and an incentive zoning approval for the redevelopment of Marketplace Mall. The mall is located on 125 acres, framed by Highland Drive, Jefferson Road, and West Henrietta Road. The property is zoned commercial B-1, and it is within the mixed-use redevelopment overlay district. As mentioned by the supervisor, the property currently does have a special use permit in place, SP 2021-18. And that special use permit has been issued to allow previous redevelopment of the Marketplace Mall property, the Orthopedic Center and the Marketplace Mall senior apartment. Current uses at the mall property include retail and commercial spaces, entertainment uses, medical uses, and residential uses. But it also now includes a vacant interior mall space of over 350,000 square feet. And it's that reason is why we're here this evening. These 3 applications this evening have been brought forward to further the next era of transition at Marketplace. And this transition is proposed as follows. The Mary Cariola Children's Center is proposing to demolish and reconstruct approximately 190,000 square feet of current mall space to consolidate their preschool and middle school educational services in one central location. The University of Rochester is proposing the rehabilitation or reconstruction of approximately 180,000 square feet of current mall space to continue their growth to serve the community. That 180,000 square feet is split up into 2 distinct uses, approximately 100,000 square feet for pediatric and adult medical special clinics, and 80,000 square feet plus or minus for Intellectual and Development Disability Institute, or the IDD. Marketplace was conscientiously selected and identified as a potential location for these services and these uses by both the University of Rochester and Mary Cariola, because it provides the availability for clinical co-location and coordinations of the services that would be offered by the university and Mary Cariola. To facilitate these three use applications, we have submitted the three applications. The Wilmerite application is to amend the current special use permit 2021-018. And that modification is requested per section 295-34.3 of the town code. And this will allow for redevelopment of the mall components and adjustment to them, and also adjustment to the mixed use components within the MURA. And those are and we have provided that information in our letter of intent of what the percentage of uses would be. Mary Cariola is looking to receive approval to receive a special use permit and incentive zoning to allow their proposed occupancy per section 295-34.3C3 of the town code, which is for incentive zoning for revitalization. The incentive being the special use permit for the operation of the educational facility in the MURA. And the amenity being offered to the town for that incentive is the reuse and revitalization of dormant buildings and plazas, which is an identified amenity per section 295-3412B1 of the town code. And the University of Rochester is looking to receive a special use permit to allow a medical use within a B1 district within the MURA per 295-34.3. Each specific user will now briefly go over what their intent is on the property. The Mary Cariola Children's Center, they will look to purchase and subdivide approximately 15 acres of property, illustrated in green on the exhibit that's up on the TV screen. This is in the northeast corner of the mall. It is west of the existing Floor and Decor building and south of the existing JCPenney building. Both of those buildings will remain in operation and under the management of Wilmerite. The green area you see is the area to be demolished and will be redeveloped, and it's proposed to be redeveloped in two phases. The first phase will be approximately 60,000 square feet for the purpose of the middle school student population of Mary Cariola. And then phase two will be the remaining 130,000 square feet, and that will be for preschool and grade school children. The Mary Cariola use is a civic use as defined in the town code Appendix A within 295-34.3. And it is a use allowed within the district for special use permit as incentive for revitalization, as we've previously mentioned. The Mary Cariola use will introduce an educational use to the property and to complement the current uses, and will bring staff, goods, and bring staff into the area to utilize the goods and services of the Henrietta Commercial Jefferson Road corridor. This new construction will be within the general footprint of the existing mall. New points of entry will be provided to the new structure, including drop-off points. Right now, we're looking at 3 drop-off points, one on the west side of the building, one on the northeast side near Penny's, and then one on the east wall near Floor and Decor. There will be some reconfiguration of the interior ring road in order to allow for transportation vehicles for picking up and discharging the students. The outer ring road, however, will remain unchanged and will be used as a bus loop to serve the school. We have met with the fire marshal to discuss that and have received initial I will say approval from him as to our plan for the outer ring road to serve as the bus loop. And we will continue to work with him as we progress into the site plan design component to ensure that we meet all fire code, fire access requirements. The building will be served by new utility services. And as I mentioned, this plan will be subject to subdivision and site plan review with the planning board, and that will include the review by that board of the new architectural design of the building. The proposed building to be reconstructed will be 1 to 1.5 stories in height, and it definitely will be less than the maximum allowed building height of 50 feet that's allowed within the MURA. Our letter of intent that we submitted to you does address the incentive zoning criteria that the town board needs to consider as it relates to the incentives and amenities being considered as part of the Mary Carriola special use permit. Mary Carriola requests the incentive of allowing the school educational use and as a distinct special use permit as incentive for revitalization. And as I mentioned, the amenity offered is what is identified in the town code, which is an amenity of reuse and revitalization of dormant buildings and plazas. This proposal of Mary Carriola meets the goals and intent of the special use permit with incentives and is outlined in our letter of intent and our written info to that criteria of 295-34-13C. It shows that this plan aligns with the goals of the MURA and the comprehensive plan. The mixed-use redevelopment overlay district was created to encourage reuse and expanded use of commercial properties. And Marketplace Mall was distinctly placed within that that mixed-use district for this exact purpose. As it relates to the University of Rochester parcel, they will be looking to purchase and subdivide approximately 42 acres of property. This will be at the west end of the mall. It's the area highlighted in, I guess I'll call it a slight gold maybe, but it's to the left of the green area that you see there. It is the space they will be occupying will be east of Dave & Buster's in IndyCar. It'll be north of the former Dick's building. Both of those buildings are all, as you see in purple, will remain under management of Wilmerite. IndyCar and Dave & Buster's also will continue to operate their businesses there. The space U of R is proposing will adjoin their current orthopedic center to the south and will also link up and connect to the proposed Mary Carriola space. The university is currently evaluating whether they will rehab the existing space or whether they will do a demolition and complete rebuild. If they do rebuild, again, it will be in a 1 to 1.5 story frame and will again be less than the maximum allowed 50-foot building height that is allowed in the MURA. There are 2 phases or 2 uses being proposed by the university, as I previously mentioned, 100,000 square feet, which would be the south side of their proposed use, and that would be for the adult and pediatric specialty clinic space, and then 80,000 square feet, which is at the north end of their space and would link up with the Mary Carriola space, is 80,000 square feet for the IDD. The U of R use is an allowed use per special use permit in the MURA per Appendix A and Section 295-34.3 of the code. The university, if they do rebuild, the construction will be within the general existing footprint of the current mall space. Again, new points of access and drop-off will be provided to this space. It will include reconfiguration of the inner ring road to accommodate that. It will include the increasing of ADA parking in the immediate area, given the clinical use being proposed for that space, and it will include new utility services. And this also will be subject to its own planning board subdivision and site plan review, including architectural review of any building improvements. Wilmerite itself is requesting the modification of the current special use permit 2021-018. And as I mentioned, that permit is in place and has been modified once before. It was issued to allow the development of the orthopedic center, and then it was modified for the Marketplace Mall Senior Apartments project. The application this evening is to modify this permit once again to allow this stage of the redevelopment to take place. And we request as part of this that the town board approve the new use percentages that are proposed or would result from this redevelopment. The town board has the ability through Town Code Section 295-34.4C4 to modify the percentages of uses within the mixed-use district. One caveat of that, though, is the town board is required to obtain an opinion from the planning board in support of such a modification. We did appear before the planning board last week on April 22nd, and we did obtain an advisory opinion from the planning board, which I believe you should have, that acknowledges that the planning board supports the special use permit application and the percentage of use modification that is proposed. We did provide the breakdowns as requested, both of the current use percentages between industrial medical office, commercial, residential, and civic and school, and also provided the information of what those percentage of uses will be with the post redevelopment. Point being is all 4 uses as required within the mixed MURA is still being met on this property. Those percentages have just shifted given the repurposing of the space and the introduction of the educational civic use of Mary Cariola. This proposed redevelopment it's going to provide the revitalization of over 350,000 square feet of space within the mall that is currently vacant and underutilized. So we are definitely meeting one of the goals of the mixed use overlay, which is to revitalize and not let spaces of such size remain dormant or vacant. The fact of the matter is that here we are just 5 months after that space went dormant, to the fact that users have been identified and have been brought forward to keep that space active and occupied. But more importantly, too, these uses being proposed are compatible uses within the marketplace mall property and will be an economic driver, bringing hundreds of staff, patients, clients, not only to the property for the use of the services, but also of the surrounding amenity services and commercial outlets. It will be an economic driver. As mentioned, both Mary Cariola and the university will be subject to subdivision and site plan review and approval by the planning board. Those applications will be complete applications per the standards of the planning board, and it will look at and provide information on the limit of redevelopment or building construction, architectural review, site circulation and parking, and utilities. Conceptually on this site plan, just to inform the board of what the intent is, there will be no new points of access proposed to the surrounding highway network. All existing points of access to Jefferson Road, Highland Drive, and West Henrietta Road will be maintained. Public transit is available on the property. There is an RTS hub located off of at the Highland Drive side of the Marketplace Mall property. As it relates to traffic generation, we provided in our engineer supplement to you the trip generation information that we believe will be created through this redevelopment. But more importantly, while we provided information on projected trip generation for the university and Mary Cariola uses, we compared that to that similar 350,000 plus space of what traffic generation would have been as a retail mall, which it was at one point, and most importantly, what the surrounding highway infrastructure was constructed to serve. What our analysis shows is that the projected trip generations are less than what would be provided if that space was all operational retail. And thus, it can be concluded that the surrounding highway network is thus satisfactory to serve this redevelopment use. As it relates to parking throughout the mall property, we did provide information to you as it relates to the parking demand of these new uses being introduced. And as I previously mentioned, part of that is an increase in ADA parking requirements driven by the university uses. But we also provided you what the town code requirement for parking would be. And as you are more than aware, that town code parking requirement has been modified by the town not too long ago as part of acknowledging mixed use efficiencies gained in parking and basic current parking demands, given the changing landscape in retail and whatnot. Point being is the parking available on the marketplace property exceed the code required parking by well over 700 spaces. So that the parking available on site does meet the town code requirements. Because this is redevelopment, all of the utilities are available. The stormwater management system is available. So we're not looking at extension of any infrastructure. This is one of the beauties of redevelopment. It is because it does not create demands on infrastructure, or new demands, I should say, on infrastructure, nor require the extension or expansion of infrastructure. The infrastructure is there and ready to serve. As it relates to seeker, the project is a type 1 action, and thus a coordinated review is required. This board, I believe on April 8th, declared your intent to be lead agency. We did provide you a completed part 1 long form environmental assessment form, along with an engineer supplement where we provided information as it relates to the 18 questions within the part 2 EAF. In doing that, we were able to see, as it relates to the redevelopment of this property and compare it to the thresholds within the EAF workbooks, that as a redevelopment project, this really does not generate any impacts that are greater than small to moderate impacts. And thus we suspect a minor, if no, impact on the environment. We do acknowledge that this board does have to wait, I think, till May 8th to become lead agency, given the 30-day time frame required from your declaration of intent until you can accept that role. And as such, we acknowledge thus that this board cannot take any action this evening because you do need to complete the seeker process first. So hopefully that is something we'll be able to do at the May 20th meeting. Just one last thing, housekeeping. I've mentioned our letter of intent a few times. I will not go through them this evening unless you want me to, but the letter does contain the written responses or information as it relates to the 9 criteria that the code requires an applicant to address as to the special use permit criteria that the proposed applications conform to the requirements of a special use permit. And we also address the 5 criteria that an applicant is required to do as it relates to incentive zoning. And we provided that in our letter of intent also. And as I've mentioned previously, we did provide an exhibit and a table as it relates to the distribution of the various uses within the MURA. So that wraps up my presentation. I believe Mark Mary from the University of Rochester is going to speak briefly as to the
Can I
purpose.
ask you a question before you leave, Peter?
Sure.
I was at the planning board meeting. I think you did a great job presenting the case for this to be in the mall, and it is an approved use. I understand the civic amenities that are being presented. I don't think it goes far enough. I think there should be something outside of that that will be a public civic amenity, maybe trails, something that adds to this project that gives use to our residents in the town. As you're aware of, we are using a lot of tax money from this project, although the use is very good that we're going to have, and that space will be used by U of R and Mary Carrier. And I would just ask as a board member that you would consider adding something above the civic amenities that you have expressed here with the school and whatnot.
Okay. All right. Yes, thank you. So I have Mark Mary from the university. Come on.
And just to be clear, Peter's not done. He's just letting the other people speak. We'll be calling him back up to answer questions. That's all right.
Good afternoon, good evening.
In fact, Peter, if you want to sit at this table in case you have to answer a question
that mic is on there too.
Right.
Good evening. Supervisor and the town board. We appreciate your time and your service to your community.
I am Mark Mary. I'm with the Planning, Design, and Construction Group with the University of Rochester. I'm the director for ambulatory and affiliate project, speaking on behalf of the project this evening. As you are well aware, we are a known entity not only to the town of Henrietta, but the various communities within Monroe County and outside Monroe County as well. We are in the process of evaluating the available space that's been made available to the University of Rochester. We have been in collaboration with Mayor Carriola, meeting 2 or 3 times a week, building a synergy with them. We are conducting various due diligence services. That's why we're here today to continue that. And we are also, as Peter mentioned, evaluating what we can do in regard to either rehabbing or demoing and rebuilding. We hope to have that decision shortly. Shortly at the University of Rochester, could be weeks. I'm gonna hopefully stay within that time frame. We will update you accordingly as needed. Thank you again for your time. Let me know if you have any questions.
I have one. Assuming that you do take the space, Mr. Marion, and employees are there. And I know you have all the proper parking that you need there. Will there be any parking that will charge the employees that work there to park there?
Currently, as I understand it, sir, there is not a policy in place to address that. I just had a parking meeting this afternoon. So again, it's an ongoing conversation, but not that I'm aware of is a thing.
Could you tell us then, at the U of R Orthopedic Center, do they charge their employees to park?
There is a charge for on-campus parking near the medical center. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm not aware of one currently at the marketplace location.
Well, that's what I'm asking you. At the orthopedic center, at the marketplace.
I'm fairly certain that the employees have to pay to park there.
I don't know if they do or not.
I just asked just a follow-up question.
Yep, no, understood.
You know what I can do? I will definitely get back to you.
All right.
I apologize. I'm not.
I have heard from employees that they do have to pay, so.
Yeah, I would like some clarification on that. Was a little concerned when I heard that they're charging. I don't think that's fair. On many issues as having family members who work for the medical center and getting charged a lot of money for parking.
We understand when you've got a parking garage and those are a lot more expensive to maintain than a wide open parking. But this location has a large parking field and so it just doesn't, it rankles us, let's put it that way.
Well, I can't speak on behalf of the University Parking Department.
Right.
Well, but I will definitely get an answer and get back to you tomorrow.
Thanks, Mr. Marion. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Absolutely. Anything else?
There'll be others, but yeah, we'll go ahead and let you swap out because I've been creating a bulletized list, so. But we'll get the first presentation and then we'll get more heavily into the questions.
Good evening. I'm Christine Sheffer, the Superintendent of Schools for the Mary Carriola Center. And I'd really like to thank the entire board for their attention to our project and your time this evening and your overall service to the community. We're proposing to repurpose an underused mall space into a school designed specifically for children with special needs. Many of these students may live near you in your community. Most of you have probably heard of Mary Carriola, may be familiar, but in case you're not, we've been providing services since 1949, educating and caring for individuals with intellectual developmental disabilities, the IDD, as well as students with severe medical challenges. Our students range from age 3 to 22. Our school in total, which is now 4 different buildings, serves approximately 450 students from 58 different school districts and 11 counties. But Mary Carriola is no stranger to Henrietta. We have some of our group homes located here and we have found welcoming neighborhoods and community opportunities for our young adults who live in those homes. I'm excited about a move to Henrietta. And to be quite honest, I've looked at, I don't know, over 77 different places. We did not come to this decision lightly, but when we found it, we knew it was the right place for us. Our goal is to work collaboratively with the town, the University of Rochester Golisano IDD Institute, and Wilmerite to create something that is lasting, beneficial, state-of-the-art, and the first of its kind in our nation. Why does this site work so well? Why am I excited? It brings new light. I think Peter talked about, new light to a vacant structure. It avoids construction on current green grass. It's well suited for special education. An accessible design is possible and practical. There will be space for classrooms, therapy rooms, and life skills training. The existing parking and traffic infrastructure is also in place. There's a robust RTS line. We have employees who choose to come to work by bus, and they'll be able to move right along with us without hardship. For the community, this project supports families with students of IDD as well as those with complex medical challenges, provides education and care regardless of the needs of the children, and allows them to work towards meeting their potential. It strengthens the community values. Our students will learn life skills in the community. It demonstrates the importance of inclusion and care for people of all abilities. And it creates stability for students, staff, and family, provided by an agency that's been doing this for over 75 years. Our school is a long-term, reliable use, not a short-term tenant. We plan to be around for the next 75 years. The daily presence of teachers, staff, families, and service providers is good for local businesses, increased activity for restaurants, shops, gas stations. There is also the opportunity for local job creation that can be filled by community members. Mary Cariola has positions where people can start with a GED or a high school diploma, join us, learn very good skills, and ultimately move into either a teacher certification track, a social work training program, a behavior therapy training. We have many, many people who, through the generosity of our donors, have joined us with a high school diploma and are now teaching in our schools. For the community, if you can get to work, it's close by, you can have an opportunity to grow. What it does is take people from jobs to careers. And that's important in every community. We have predictable daytime traffic patterns. Schools are rarely busy on Saturdays. We can do a few night events, open house, the prom, all of it. But typically, we are a daytime activity. We're quiet at night. No late night football games or loud music or any other things, that might happen. We are professionally staffed, well-maintained, and dare I say, I run a tight ship, closely managed facility. The human impact is really essential. Mary Cariola Center represents hope for families who are navigating complex challenges. Our ability to partner with the IDD Center, parents, can come in for a meeting. We can walk the children over. They don't have to go to a strange doctor's office. They don't have to cross a unfamiliar parking lot. The doctors and the teachers can be in the same room, trying to figure out how to provide the highest quality services and the most independence for children and youth. When a community invests in children with special needs, it sends a very powerful message that everybody belongs. And we will belong in Henrietta. We want to be there.
Thank you.
Questions?
Well, you know, this is a community, our slogan is a community for all. Everybody's welcome. So you're definitely welcome here.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
So
it.
I'm actually gonna, well, I'd
Families.
like to add a few housekeeping things before we dig too deep into questions, but so a couple things Peter already mentioned. We're in the midst of the seeker process, so we will not be ruling tonight. We'll be ruling on the 20th. That seems to be a common theme tonight. I will just disclose it's not a conflict because he's not actually applying for this application, but Tom Golisano was a major investor in Pictometry, the company that I started. As I used to like to say, Tom and I owned a majority of the company. Of course, he owned about 47% and I owned 5%, but together we were a majority. The company has since sold. That's out, although he's now investing in another startup I'm involved in. But again, I just mentioned that because he has donated, if I remember the numbers correctly, 25 million to Mary Cariola for this new facility and 50 million to get the IDD center started. So he's a major donor, but again, he's not really involved in the application. But I just like to disclose that because it's there. The people have brought up the effect on the tax base. It's actually minimal. The reason is the effect has already happened. And what I mean by that, if you go back a decade or two, the mall was probably over $100 million in value. If you add up all the properties today, I think it's around 28 million. If you add up the purple that's remaining, they come in at about 20 million. So we're only losing about 6 to 8 million in property value for our total property values.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we've added Skywork right down the road, Bob Johnson, GMC over on West Henrietta Road. We're adding the Raising Cane's. When you add those up, it's greater in market and property value, taxable value than we're losing in the mall. So whereas it's the effect is those would have been cumulative. We're not going to see a drop in the total assessed value because of this project. So I just want people, there's a lot of people who have been asking that question. In fact, that's in the newsletter that should hopefully be out soon. A couple other things, just so the folks involved in this project are aware and other people know. So there is currently a pilot covering the mall. We just had a discussion today with the assessor as well as the attorney for Wilmerite. Our plan is to keep the pilot going. So these properties, the main mall parcels will go to exempt, which is roll 8. As pilot currently, to meet a pilot, they're actually already on roll 8. It makes no sense to bring them to roll 1 and then move them back to roll 8. That creates whiplash, which actually creates problems for the school district. And so our plan is the way we've done this pilot for years, just so people understand, they're not actually getting a tax break. Every year we set the pilot equal to what they would have otherwise paid in taxes. So you say, why have a pilot? Well, because to get some of the folks to come in, they had to give, they had to essentially waive the tax for that particular parcel. And that tax burden was picked up by the rest of the parcels. So it was just a way to re-scramble. What we will do is we will meet with all folks involved, and what I'm proposing, and we'll see what happens, is that we do something, the taxable, the pilots that were created, setting up, the number we set up this spring and summer is actually for the next year. And so what we will do is the taxable parcels, we'll figure out what their tax would be for the whole year. And then what we will likely do is for the parcels that are going to be going to exempt, we'll calculate what they would owe between now and when that becomes exempt, which is typically March 1st. That's taxable status date. And we'll only set the pilot amount for that amount. So that way folks like Mary Carriola aren't having to pay a pilot into the future for when they would otherwise be exempt. So we'll work on that, and obviously that has to be approved by the town board. So it will all be out public. But that's, like I said, what I'm going to propose and see if we can put that together. In regards to that, these type of facilities do put a large burden on our fire district and ambulance generally. And exempt normally do not have to pay. So I will be talking to the entities involved about a community benefit agreement to try to address some of that. I know that U of R, for instance, does a community benefit in the town of Brighton with some similar type stuff. So there's a couple parcels that where they have they've split the buildings out, and the parking area is still part of a larger mall parcel. If any of those parcels go to the parking parcels go to either the U of R or Mary Carriola, but they're also the parking for instance, Floor and Decor. They're in the /B parcel. What we will do is calculate the approximate balance, so that parcel will not be fully exempt. We might exempt if half of it's used by Floor and Decor and half of it's used by Mary Carriola, we would exempt half the parcel. The other half would still have to be paid, and that bill could go to Floor and Decor. Sportsman Warehouse is in a similar situation right now. The surrounding parcel is owned by Wilmerite, so it would still be taxable. But there was some talk about, as I understand it, there's possibility that URMC could be taking over the loop road, the maintenance of the loop road and stuff like that. And if that's the case, and that's a URMC parcel, then we would do the same thing. That parcel that includes the parking for Sportsman Warehouse, we would have a partial exemption, and the non-exempt portion we'd leave it up to you guys, but that's where you could send that bill to the Sportsman Warehouse. We do that for some other parcels where we have a mix of exempt and non-exempt on them. Let's see. Some more important stuff, joking. There's all over as you drive up the road, you see signs for the mall. Presumably those are going to go away, which raises the question, what's going to be the name of this complex? Is it still going to be called Marketplace? That's something to think about and let us know, because again, from a signage and nomenclature, if you don't name it, the residents will, usually online, and you might not like their suggestions. As Rob mentioned, from the civic space, one of the things that when we did the original one, the mall and central area was civic space. It was, the idea is it could also be walking paths and walking area for the folks at the Marketplace Senior Apartments. So one of the things is, as Rob already mentioned, we're going to want to see something that addresses that, maybe some outdoor walking trails on some of the green areas, with whether it's stone dust or some other, but something would also, depending on where it is, like if it's on the westernmost grassy parcel for that senior apartments, you would need a bridge across the creek, but like I said, we'll want to see something that addresses that. And then I'll let Rob and others talk about the other ones. So those are most of them. As I said, very happy to have this go. We don't want to see our mall turn into what happened at the Medley Center. We very much, I for one, and I think everybody here on the town board is very welcoming of I will say the orthopedic center has been a great addition. as somebody who played ice hockey goalie for 45 years, I can tell you I go there for my knees. We're very excited about the Mary Carriola. Although I will have to say, my kids and hopefully my grandkids will have to verify that you guys are still around in 75 years, because I certainly will not be. So, the other thing you've neglected to mention about the great thing about this site, Henrietta is really the crossroads of Monroe County. You got the north-south and east-west interstate arterials. So it's great to be able to bring everybody here from all over the region. So again, I think it's a good choice. Would I have rather seen an IKEA go in there? Probably. Unfortunately, our timing on IKEA was horrible.
Right.
Those who don't remember, that was one of the projects they were going after. And then unfortunately, the founder of IKEA died. And there was a moratorium on not only new builds, ones that were currently in process. And it finally lifted a few years ago, and unfortunately, they chose Syracuse.
Maybe they'll come back.
That's right. But anyway, that's all the house cleaning, and I guess we'll open it up for questions. No more
Thanks.
chomping at the bit.
Yes. First, thanks, Steve, for the transparency on your relationship with Mr. Galasano. I think that was important. I want to thank you too, Christine, for the work that your organization does for our community. That's, very good. Currently, how many locations do you have in Monroe County?
4.
4 locations. Are they all going to be moved under this roof?
Initially, the 2 buildings that are on East Henrietta Road, if you know, like where the St. Anne's Parish is on Mount Hope, there's a funny little wedge. There's a Dunkin' Donuts sitting
Right,
in the
yes.
corner.
Yep, right by Wendy's.
We have 2 buildings over there.
Okay.
And those 100 students are the middle school age students, and they will be the first students moving in. After that, our phase 2 plan is to move preschool and elementary age students in. We do have a dream of getting our high school students over there at some point. But quite honestly, we need to get in, get settled, make sure all the kinks are worked out. And we also have to continue to work on the New York State future funding for other pieces.
But in theory, then, if you've got all 3 of those 3 phases are complete, the other locations
Yes.
that would replace the other locations, yeah.
Okay. And is the middle school one, is that the one at the L. Siegel Center on Elmwood and South?
And the Elmwood and South houses 25 elementary school age classrooms and 10 preschool classrooms. And that we would be bringing those in phase 2.
Okay.
So Christine, I think I recall you saying that there's 1 staff member to just about every 5 students?
Yeah, we have approximately, in most of our classrooms, 7 students, 1 special ed teacher, and 4 paraprofessionals, so 5 grown-ups for 7 kids before we start adding the 22 nurses that work for us, and the speech therapists, and the OTs, and the PTs, and other clinical team
Gotcha.
members.
Interesting. Thanks.
But the districts that send us their students, it's at no cost to parents. The districts are saying,
Right.
this student needs to be with us.
Yeah.
They trust us to provide high quality care, but also high quality learning.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of staff.
Yeah, that's great.
My office is right across the street from the South Avenue location at L. Siegel, and I do see all the different district buses over there. Yes,
And most of which are not full-size buses.
No.
Because if you're coming Dundee, send us 1 student, they have to provide that transportation. So even though there's very few districts that pull together, the BOCES one, Monroe County BOCES, they pull together to share, but generally you'll have, I don't know, this time of the year in the winter, you'll see Suburbans bringing 1 kid and minivans and things like that.
Yeah, I used to go over to the building. Sometimes they had a small restaurant in there that
Yep.
served all the different businesses in there.
So you come over, we'll have lunch.
I didn't know they were still opening.
Yeah, that ARC is running a supported
Okay.
cafeteria down there and daily specials for less than $9.
My wife used to work for Rochester Rehab, which was in that building.
The questions?
I was just thinking, once you guys are settled in there, do you think you're gonna be hiring more staff? Or is it just, are you gonna kind of keep it the same? Like
We intend to keep the same number of classrooms as we currently have. We think we're at the upper limit for providing quality programming. We could have as many as 500 staff in the future when we get all three buildings. I'm trying to think, 100, I estimated 100 staff would come in the first wave. And that doesn't count people like the bus drivers and families and other visitors, but 100 people on the Carriola payroll. And then probably another 200 or 250 in phase 2.
Okay. Are there any plans for any outdoor space, like a playground or anything along those lines?
Yes, they're actually, based on the last draft plans that I saw, are about 5 outside play areas. One on the west side is pretty good size. And then the way the building will be so that all of the students have access to natural sunlight. So you'll have like a play space in the middle and then classrooms and classrooms. Kind of think of them as fingers, with the finger being a play area. And I believe around 26,000 square feet. Number of people are back there. 26,000 square feet of outdoor play space.
So if you look at the current U of R Orthopedic Center, they actually have one of those courtyards
Yeah.
in the
Inside,
middle,
yeah.
right, with the sunlight. So, you know, that the great thing about that, it, like you said, it brings the sunlight in, allows windows out, but it also then, you know, when you're dealing with special needs children, sometimes you have containment issues. So
You have
grades is great.
the building, and then one side would be the outside game. And it does allow kids to be safe regardless of how impulsive they might be, or the fact that they're still working on basic safety skills.
So that there's one map that's in here and it shows kind of an expanded space. That's what you'll be going to, what, the 130,000 square feet?
Yeah, that's phase two.
That's phase 2.
Yes.
And then, just so people are aware, I understand that they have a right of first refusal on, would end up with a right of first refusal on J.C. Penney's. That's basically if Penny ever closes down, that's potentially where the high school is going. And the U of R has similar right for Dave and Buster's and IndyCar should they ever close up operation. I wasn't sure if you also had one for the Dick's Sporting Goods or not. Do we know if I'm seeing nodding? Okay, so U of R would also have right of first refusal on that as well. But they've got a lot of work to do to fill up the empty mall space before they start going into those spaces. So.
Right.
So I guess one other question I had was around security, given that you're a school that's bumped right up next to commercial areas, public spaces, and that type of thing. I know in other schools that they, limit the entrance points and that type so that they can check who's coming in and out. And I was just wondering, do you have a plan to?
So your timing is perfect because I've spent a couple hours yesterday in a security meeting. All of the doors will be fobbed from the outside, and the door will be able to take kids in and out at bus time.
Yes.
You'll be able to leave as from fire egress. There'll be one door that opens into a secure reception area, so you'll be able to get in out of the rain.
Yeah.
The receptionists will check IDs, run a scan on people coming in, and then because of who our students are, if you're a visitor, even if you're a parent, if you're a parent, it's generally the social worker or the teacher will come down and get you. So then we have another set of eyes on that. Our IT team has been working on being cutting edge in that area. Yesterday, we were talking about cameras, looking at out from doors so we can see who might be at a door. We were also talking about, unfortunate reality. How do we lock down hallways or portions of the building if I call it, the flaming dragon is in the other side of the building. So that's all being taken into consideration. Along with, we do have an employee who is our safety and security person. We have plans that we file and plans that we share with law enforcement, and those kind of folks would anticipate sharing them, with Henrietta. She manages ambulance calls and anything that might happen on unwanted visitors, sometimes non-custodial parents.
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you. I just a suggestion as well as in Henrietta, we have a large number of deaf and hard of hearing parents. And they've noted that some of the security doors at some of the schools within our district are hard for them to communicate through because they have to speak through an intercom, and they have no clue when somebody is speaking back to them or anything. So I don't know if there's any sort of a light or anything along those lines that could
You
be
can
helpful.
tell them to call me. We actually have a plan for that. And
that's awesome.
so that people are respectfully met at the door and their first touch with us is not frustrating.
Right. Yes. Yes. No, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm good.
I don't have anything. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah,
Go
no,
ahead.
go ahead.
Going to see if we had any questions from the public. Apparently not. One of the things, again, talking about civic base, one of the things that would be very helpful to us if there's a way to accomplish it with any of the empty space, perhaps that, whether it's the former Dick's while it sits empty or, one of the spaces that I don't know what the order of when construction and or demolition is going to occur. But there's a group that's been at the mall for a number of years now, Fairy Godmothers. They do phenomenal work in terms of they get donations of prom dresses and they sell them to girls who would otherwise not be able to afford a nice prom dress for very cheap. And they served the mall location for them has been phenomenal. It's grown every year. They've had people coming in from Warsaw and all over the area to get fitted for their dress. I was there helping out with security. I certainly did not help. I was not a fashion consultant. Seeing me dress, you understand why. But the look on the face of these kids when they find that perfect prom dress and how excited they are because they can afford it and I'm getting work done. It really is something to see. If you've never volunteered for this group, and especially if you're someone who does like to shop, does like to do fashion, I encourage you to get involved. But I'd like you, the three groups, to see if there's some way they could be accommodated. From a storage standpoint, we're looking at potentially in the future, once we own the Dome Arena, that we would have maybe potentially move them there. But in the meantime, if there was a way that they could stay at the mall, it would be a great service to this community because again, they provide a very valuable service. So
Yeah, I agree. And I think most of the times the events are on the weekends. And so you were talking about only being during Monday through Friday. I think if there was a possibility to allow that.
they do typically their fittings are Wednesday evenings and Saturday afternoons.
Yeah, so not during
school hours.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Anything else?
Very good.
All right, so, again, we'll be closing this session of the public hearing, but the public hearing will be kept up.
I thought Marketplace is there somebody from Marketplace? I got a few.
Yeah, Mark was just.
No, someone from Wilmerite, you mean?
Wilmerite.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, thanks, sorry.
No problem.
Hey, how are you?
I'm Eric Wright with Wilmerite.
Eric?
Any questions?
Yeah. So when we originally did the U of R, the orthopedic center, it was my understanding that that they were going to pump money back into the mall to revitalize it as retail. Whatever happened?
We intended that. We intended it to basically help facilitate, revitalize the mall.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, it just didn't work out with retailers. You saw even Dick's leaving and relocating over near Benderton's property. So that was fully our intent. We weren't seeking a buyer, but unfortunately, just the retail marketplace didn't allow that to happen.
Well, I will note that we approved that change in 2019. And then 2020, malls took a beating, especially when the governor, with this ruling I still don't understand, said stores and restaurants outside of malls can reopen. Stores and restaurants inside malls have to stay closed.
Did you put any money into the mall when you got the money to attract customers or attract tenants?
Yes, we've continually been putting money back into the mall, and we tried to utilize that money as well with new tenant deals to try and incentivize tenants to come. And unfortunately, that didn't happen.
And it was mentioned several times that it's now vacant. Is everything I read that the tenants that were in there were evicted is January 1.
Basically, everybody's tenants' leases expired. We did not do an eviction process.
Okay, so when you say you didn't, did you offer them, the ones that, if they wanted to stay, did you offer them to stay?
I believe so. I don't know that for certain, but unfortunately, most tenants didn't want to be in a mall with no other adjacencies.
Right, because Peter made it sound like that the mall went vacant, and that's why this all this is all happening. I kind of wondered if the reason tenants left was because they didn't get renewed, and now the mall is empty and they're able to come in.
And I will just say there was a couple other things that played into it as well, including some from U of R. So originally the idea was with the food court that the folks were going to park in the northwest parking lots, walk past the food court to and from their cars. Unfortunately, the connection to the mall from the orthopedic center took a long time to connect. And then, oh, by the way, they put food cafe inside the orthopedic center. There were some other things that we had talked about, and unfortunately the URMC carved them out. We thought that potentially, like Monroe Wheelchair, or folks who provide orthopedic devices, or could there be doctor's offices, or there used to be a drugstore in there, pharmacy in there. Those in their contract excluded them. So I don't want to throw this all at the foot of Wilmerite. I have spoken out before about some of the issues that I thought they could have been more aggressive. But there is a confluence of issues. Like I said, the governor really hurt malls. He really did with that decision to changed when folks could open up. And then, like I said, the delay on connecting to the mall, the food vendors, there was it Annie's or whatever it's called, was right across the opening for the longest time. That connection wasn't there. And so it was very difficult. You had to go all the way out and all the way around the outside and then back in if you wanted to get to the mall. That was a problem.
I think Jose and Maria's empanada shop who was opening up there with the intent that many people would have access to them, and it didn't happen. That's why it brings us up that we were told things that never came about.
Well, Eric, what was your last name, Eric?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, W-R-I-G-W.
Thanks.
Well, I think what's important too, though, is with regards to that's obviously what the supervisor pointed out, that sometimes, factors outside of anyone's control takes place. But I think what's important here is moving forward. And in moving forward, while the use of Mary Carriola and the additional URs is think about now that parking lot's going to be full. And what that perception is to the community versus driving by it today. I mean, it was a social media thing the last couple of years of that mall parking lot being empty. But now it's going to be alive. And as Christine pointed out, they're going to bring in, staff, 400 people, staff that, again, I come back to economic drivers. Those are people that are going to use the services, businesses of the area. But I think more importantly, what this does is it puts new life into that property that's been around for 40 plus years. There are malls dying all over this nation, and everybody's trying to find the right, proper reuse. And as we stated at the beginning, and Christy mentioned it, they looked at 77 properties, some in Henrietta. And then this one came about with the fact of the partnership with the university. It really is a win-win. It is taking, that mall is a 1.2 million square feet, and now it's going to pretty much be fully occupied. There are a lot of mall properties that would love to be able to say that.
Peter, don't get me wrong, Peter. I like the idea, but I'm just how we got here and what we were led to believe in the past that some of it didn't come about.
No, I understand.
So and
we did have full intention for those. I mean, you saw with the Macy's, former Macy's redevelopment with Floor and Decor, hoping that would spur more retail use. I can't tell you the hundreds of things that have come across my desk trying to make different scenarios work for redeveloping the mall that unfortunately, we're not here presenting because they didn't work, but we'd love to be here talking about, IKEA coming in or a different retail use. Not that this isn't great for the community, but we fully tried to keep moving forward with all those ideas that we can pull.
And Floor and Decor is another perfect example, right? They insisted, tried to have them connect to the mall. They insisted on separating, make a separate building. And so now it gets to, well, could you force them? No, because they would have said, we'll go elsewhere. So that it gets into there is, again, do I think there could have been more done? I do. Do I think that all the issues were of their own making? I do not. There's a confluence of a lot of things that led to the downfall of Marketplace.
So are you going to continue to own the property and collect rent from these different business or organizations? I'm sorry, they're not businesses, organizations that are coming in there?
Outside of the uses that are being presented, those would be purchases, but the remaining parcels we would continue to own and operate and collect rent from.
Okay, so Mary Carriola, are you continuing to own that and rent that to Mary Carriola?
That's a sale to Mary Carriola, so they would maintain. Same with the U of R.
Okay, so the U of R.
Remember that Tom Golisano donation I mentioned earlier on? That's how they're buying it.
Okay, great. And the Miracle Mile Drive, I know you kind of touched on this, Steve, but the right at the moment that road that goes around is in pretty rough shape.
Thank you.
And those speed bumps are not well
indicated.
Yes, thank you. Now well signed, and it's very easy to not know that you've hit a speed bump until you hit the speed bump. So what's the plan for that Miracle Mile Drive?
That will be part of the site plan package for both the Mary Carriola
How much?
and the university. We're currently doing pavement
Okay.
assessments. We just did them last week. We provided our due diligence reports with recommendations, but it would be part of the redevelopment of those. The one map, as you showed, which was illustrating some of the University of Rochester, as we mentioned, they're going to take about 42 acres. That contains most of the outer ring road. They will be owning the outer ring road, and so as part of this project, we are assessing the condition of that, and that would include not only the physical condition of the pavement, but it's also going to be about traffic flow, traffic circulation, because we're going to need wayfinding signs based on the various different uses there. So it will be a complete transportation plan that we would be providing to the planning board as part of the site plan process.
And my understanding is then when they take that, they'll be responsible for the snow plowing for
Correct.
that.
In general.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. I just want to make sure that it's not something that's going to be taking place a year or two from now when that particular area needs some attention sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I was gonna.
We don't want to pass a resolution like we've had to do for some of these other plazas saying, fix it or else.
I was going to suggest that the other day that we go after them all if they refuse to fix the potholes, because it was over there at the
It's pretty
senior apartments and in that area.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
have concerns about
If you guys could take a look at that sooner rather than later, it's the essentially the stretch that goes past the senior apartments and
Yes.
past Sportsman Warehouse. By the time you get to the Dick's parking lot, if I remember, it gets a bit better, but there's a stretch, and I'm sure part of what plays to it, and this will also be with regards to your timing when you fix some of the other roads, depending on where the construction vehicles are coming. I'm sure part of the reason that is a little bit more broken up is because of the weight of the construction vehicles building the senior apartments. But like I said, because of that area, there are some significant potholes there, and I think then all the way at the south, about where you meet the entrance that goes over towards Target and Lowe's, that road, not the road itself, but just before you get to the road, there were some sizable potholes. But
We can take a look at all those and provide a plan of interim plan until the full scale renovation happens.
Thanks, Eric.
The one other thing that this is a recommendation for all of the entities that are involved. Right at the moment, we do have public transport. We do have RTS that comes out to the Highland Drive area. Just mentioning to RTS to continue that service to that particular area. We don't want it. RTS has had a habit of cutting certain services within Henrietta, and that is really a big priority because of all of the services and organizations that you are providing now in that area, including the senior apartments and for all of the shopping and things that go on there. So a lot of people utilize that space, that RTS line to get into the city and out from there. If it's possible for RTS even to make it into the plaza for any sort of pickups or anything along those lines, I would think that would be helpful.
They are on site today.
Good.
There is a hub, what they call a hub that they put in as well, what the AOC occupied.
Yeah.
And actually, we have reached out to RTS about these proposals, and I think we hope to be meeting with them in the next couple of weeks.
Great, thank you so much.
It is an active issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And I would just, when you're doing that traffic pattern and plan, just take into account the path from those main bus shelters.
Yes.
I will say the CFO for RTS was once served with us on this town board. So if you have any issues, let me know. I'm happy to reach out to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also happens to be chair of the school board.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's
Yeah.
very involved in Henrietta still.
And along with those like walking trails, you might want to, and that the walking routes from the bus pickup and drop off area, you may want to take into consideration any individuals that might be biking into that space. It's not a great area to bike, either West Henrietta Road or Highland Drive, but at least within the parcel, if there can be some sort of safe biking route would be.
I will note that West Henrietta Road, so the stretch in front of there, so from Jefferson down to Lehigh is slated for repavement this year.
Yeah.
Included, they're going to restripe it a bit to try to widen the shoulders for bicycles. And north of Jefferson, that is currently in design. They're going to redesign that and add bicycle lanes going northbound. So that will help. We've put in sidewalks on Highland Drive. We put in sidewalks on Marketplace Drive. So again, same thing, Highland Drive, when the county restripes it, same thing, they're gonna do a couple lane diets in order to widen the shoulder so that Highland Drive will also be better for cycling. So we're putting together bike boulevards and other things to make it easier for people who do want to bicycle to a location to be able to do so. So taking that into account in the interior, because that certainly wasn't a thing when the mall was at its heyday.
Yeah, so what our intent was, is prior to the May 20th, we were going to provide you kind of a written bullet list to address what now has come up, I think 3 times now, about pedestrian circulation and mobility, because it is something we have discussed. And you've hit all of the topics we've been discussing. So it is something we've been thinking about. And there's a couple of key things. One thing, Millie, as you said, it is, moving people from the RTS bus stop safely, whether they are going to UR space, carryover space. You heard Christine mention that they have a lot of staff members.
Yeah.
So we understand the importance of that. We also have the importance of the pedestrian circulation of the PEDS patients, and that, like I said, I think we're going to have 10%, 15% ADA spaces. So we've got to get those people and patients safely to where they need to go. But also importantly, and this finally gets to why we'll kind of create an overall circulation plan. As you've heard, there's going to be interaction amongst the university, amongst carryover staff, but also those people maybe even using some of the existing services, limited that they are. But we have to make sure they can move around us. And then the point is about the bike lane and possibly come on West Henrietta. It's something we can look at incorporating. So we intend to give you a kind of an idea of how we do it, and not to push it off to the side. But part of that is the key component is 2 things. A, we have to do this in conjunction with understanding how the new buildings are going to work. And what I mean by that is obviously we don't want pedestrian pathways that go across where loading areas are. We want to remove conflict of pedestrians with delivery vehicles, things like that. So we have to know how that's going to work. Then also we need to understand how the outer ring road will work, because that has a distinct purpose also in the fact of serving the transit vehicles for the school. So again, we have to also make sure we're not going to create conflicts, because at the end of the day, it's very important to the university and Carriola with these new uses that we have to understand their needs because of the special needs of safe transport from them from when they arrive on campus to getting to the services locations they need. So there's all of these things out there, and some of those we don't know the complete answer to today.
Yep.
But we understand the importance of connecting all those dots.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I just have a comment, when people hear that you want to redevelop vacant buildings, they normally don't, a lot of them don't think that about demolition. They see a vacant store and we're gonna reuse the building that's there. So when you talk about redevelopment of vacant buildings,
Well, and I mean, I can tell you, and now I'm gonna get a little dangerous because I'm going through that's cool. But that a lot, it was, original intent was to reuse the existing mall building, but there was a building code change.
Right, well, we
And-
understand.
And that created the issue here because of the roof loadings and everything.
Right.
That they just couldn't, yeah.
We understand, we had the same thing with the courthouse.
The old library, we couldn't use
Right.
the old library. We
Yeah,
couldn't
right.
use it.
And so I understand that, but I'm just, when you present it as reuse or redevelopment of vacant buildings, many people don't think of, we're demolishing it, we're gonna demolition this and rebuild.
Well, I think redevelop, that's more common. That includes demolition. If you say reuse, that's not. So, yeah, but yeah, it's unfortunate that, again, as you get into the structural and the code change, now there's a good reason for it. Some of it has to do with the amount of air handling required, the HVAC required. No, I'm just saying in terms of, but yeah, it's unfortunate because I suspect it would have been a good cost savings if they didn't have. Now it'd be like, if you look at what U of R did with the Sears building, they stripped it down to its bare bones and rebuilt it. But that still saved a bunch of steel because they were able to reuse that. So guess you guys should have built it, thicker to begin.
Next time.
Steve, who did you say had first refusal on J.C. Penney building? Was that?
That would be Mary Carriola.
Okay, and
then the other two was U of R.
Okay.
That's why if you look in the application, it asterisks those as potentially being involved, but they're not involved in phase one.
Right.
In phase one, it's the 111 parcel, which is the mall itself. And then it's the /B, which is the parking. It's what used to be Macy's. So if you go back to the mall, you had the 4 anchor stores. They had their store plus like a wedge of parking. And so that's the old, now Floor and Decor's in there. But as I mentioned, their parcel is tight to the exterior of the building. And the remaining parking area is now, that's the /B. Any other questions?
Nope.
Don't worry, we'll have more in 3 weeks.
Okay. We'll see you then. And obviously, though, if there's anything that comes up that you, please let us know. And we'll.
Well, like I said, I want to reach out and I want to start having some discussions on the CVA, and we're interested to see, your thoughts on, again, some walking trails for the seniors and stuff like that. And I get it. It doesn't have to be finalized. That's really more for when you get to the site plan side of stuff, but we like to see that stuff. We're busybodies, right? We like to know what's going on in our town.
I have one more. And I know U of R normally uses local labor to do all their buildings and to do a lot of their building. Plan on using local labor for all this project?
As the answer from the audience, yes, we are.
Okay. And,
Mary.
that was for the U of R, Mary Carriola do they do our local?
I mean, they're utilizing LaChase.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So the answer from the audience was she didn't know, they haven't built much. This will be their first big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they are going to be using the LaChase as she reiterated, so. All right, anything else? Then I'm going to close this session of the public hearing, but the public hearing itself will remain open until May 20th. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're not even done with public hearings yet.
Going on.
Okay, so next up, we have a proposed local law to amend the town code to allow a neighborhood upgrade incentive zoning. Let me explain what this particular laws with regards. So in our mix, we have those mixed use overlay districts. One of them is the mixed-use employment area, and in there, we have the ability from an incentive zoning to encourage developers to build smaller homes, which tend to be more affordable. Now, I don't like to say affordable because they're still going to sell at market rate, and market rate for small homes have doubled since 2018. However, you know, 1,200 square foot home, 1,400 square foot home is still much cheaper than a 2,000 to 2,400 square foot home. And so what we've done in that district, and it was successful, we've got a builder building it. They don't typically like to build the smaller homes because their margins are best on the 2,000 to 2,200 square foot homes. Their margins might be greater if they went even bigger, but then as you get bigger, you start to see a declining population who's interested in buying that home. There's still a lot of demand for the smaller homes. And one of the things we also require is that they have a first floor bedroom. So that I jokingly put it, not only is it a starter home, but it's an ender home for someone who wants to downsize, right? We'd like to be able to offer that in any of the new developments coming in. It's an incentive zoning. They come in, they apply. And basically what we say is we'll give you more density if you build these smaller homes. The advantage of the more density, if I put the homes closer together, the amount that they have to spend on the roads and utilities and all that stuff, that's the same regardless of the square foot of homes. The spacing of the home is what drives that cost. So the more homes I can put per linear mile of road, the less costly it is for each home. Therefore, they can make their margins on the smaller homes. And therefore, they're more likely to build them. If they can't make margins, they're a for-profit company. If they can't make margins, they're not going to build them. So with the pressure we're seeing, you know, for those unaware, 2017, before 2017, there was roughly 2,400 homes for sale each month in the Monroe County. Now it's 400. So that's 1/6 of the available supply. The demand hasn't changed. Law of supply and demand, the prices are going to skyrocket, and they have tripled since I think it started in 2005. They've tripled in 3 years, but they've doubled just since 2018. So and that was 2025 data. So in 7 years, the home prices doubled. You just see as the supply dropped, the pricing skyrocketed. The good news, it's starting to level out some. Of course, the high mortgage rates might play a part in that. But you know, there is still significant demand. But like I said, hopefully this will address it. So that's what we're looking to do with this incentive zoning. Any questions?
I just don't always think that just because they're smaller, they're gonna be affordable.
Well, again, affordable, they're less expensive is the correct term. More affordable. I didn't say affordable, they're more affordable. They're less expensive than the 2,000 square foot home. But this is one of the things, so there were some of the politicians in Albany have said things like, well, if you give builders more density, it'll save them cost and they'll pass that on to the homeowners. No, they won't. They'll always sell it for market value.
Yep.
The market value for a 1,200 to 1,400 square foot is less than the market for the value for a 2,000 to 2,400 square foot home. So that's the idea of this. Rather than just increase the density, we're saying if we're going to increase the density, we want smaller homes. That's about it. Any other questions?
Nope.
All right.
I think it's a good idea.
So I'm going to close let's see, is this one of them that, I don't remember which, this is the first meeting it's been on, right? Okay, so I will close this session of the proposed local law. As has been a common theme tonight, it'll stay open until the 20th. We're going to have a whole lot on the 20th. Next up, we have a proposed local law to update zoning codes to add missing verbiage for the additional uses in the Brook Road rural residential lands. So as some may be aware, we rezoned Brooks Road from residential R115 to rural residential. In doing so, some of it was in reaction to a potential, I think it was 125 home subdivision that our road certainly, I say our road, full disclosure, I live on Brooks Road, that our road could not have handled. If you've ever been on Brooks Road, it's one of the narrowest roads in town, has no shoulders, massive hills, so really poor sight lines. So it's not a good road for high traffic. Unfortunately, we're seeing an increase in traffic as people cut through, typically over to Farrell Road extension. But a 100 home subdivision on the road would have been disastrous for it. So we looked at, when you look, there's a number of farms around there. It's really still an old country road. So the residents got together, and the majority of them were in favor of rezoning to rural residential. To make that happen and to be able to get that one property out of, because they would have bought us, the one that wanted to do the subdivision, because again, it was owned by developers already. We agreed for a couple limited uses, additional uses, that would not put traffic on the road. So for instance, a large solar array project or energy battery storage. The problem was when we wrote the law, and I take the blame for this, those uses, if you read in the rural residential district, those uses require you to get a special use permit. So I just said, oh, let's add those uses. Well, I didn't say add those uses or additionally allowed uses upon obtaining a special use permit. As such, an applicant came in and said, well, I don't need a special use permit. So I explained to them what was going on, and thankfully they said, okay, we will actually submit for a special use permit. They understood that I explained to them, if you look in the base code, it's there. So we just want to get rid of that ambiguity. So now we just want to update. We're not adding any additional uses. Those were already there. We're just clarifying that for those uses, they have to do a special use permit, because one of the things we want to address in that is make sure that the transitional buffers are good, that they bring the roads out, any traffic out to East River Road or north up to Lehigh and not out to Brooks Road, that they provide good buffering to the farms, to the houses to the south, all that stuff. And so those are things that we can put as conditions in a special use permit to avoid those adverse impacts. That's a little tougher to do. They can do some of that in site planning too. It just gives us additional teeth. So between the town board and the planning board, we can make sure that the neighboring houses are protected from those potential uses. So that's what we're looking to do. And I'll open it up to any questions.
I'm good.
I know two of my neighbors are here. I don't know if you were just wanting to understand or if you had any additional questions. Yeah, so yeah, they noted that they're seeing some stuff. I don't know that they've started much. One of the things that's been happening a lot, there's a number of utility companies that have been putting stuff in. So if you're seeing the little flags, they're calling in the know before you digs. And people have to go out and flag where their stuff is. But they are putting together the plans for for battery storage, but to my knowledge, we have not received an application as of yet. It's possible we received one that's scheduled for a subsequent meeting, but if we have, I haven't noticed it. They did come in and talk to us, and that's when I basically said to them, oh, wait a minute, this is my fault. And like I said, thankfully they agreed to submit it, because they could have fought us in court, because when you read the language, it could certainly be interpreted that it didn't require a special use permit. We just want to fix that. So anything else?
Good catch.
So again, with zoning changes, we typically have them on for 2 meetings. So this is the first meeting for this one. So again, I will be closing the session. And this one will also be on the May 20th. So our interpreters better, make sure their hands are all limbered up before that meeting. So the last 2 are canceled. We had a hearing for Popeye's Restaurant at 3070 West Henrietta Road to fix all the massive potholes in the parking lot. They did it, so we do not need the public hearing. Similarly, Southtown Plaza, 3333 West Henrietta Road. They actually did the repairs. Last time, if you'll recall, they didn't, and we actually had to go in and do it and charge it to their tax bill. But they actually were responsive this time. And then there wasn't a hearing because we had the hearing last meeting. But the last one was the access road through Doyle Security Property up to Town Center Plaza. Again, they did that work. They fixed that work. So the good news is all 3 of them who we said, look, you've got dangerous potholes in your access roads. All 3 of them were responsive and fixed them. And so while we're at that, if you haven't noticed, our town crews last Sunday milled down the big jump at Hawkins and East Henrietta Road. We've been frustrated. So the Water Authority was having trouble finding a contractor to do it. I talked to our highway superintendent, made sure he was good with it. Knowing him, I was pretty sure of the answer already, but I checked with him and then called the Water Authority, offered our services to fix the hump because it was dangerous. That was 3 weeks ago. It took that much time to get the New York State DOT to approve our plans. To be honest, near the end, we sent in the plans. They sent back, here's our suggestions to the changes. We said, okay, we'll implement those. And the way I looked at it, they didn't say no, so we went and did it. I don't know that we ever truly had approval, but we didn't have a denial, so that was good enough for us. So if you saw like 10 or 15 people out there with the yellow vests on the one day, that was us. We couldn't get the state DOT to put a priority on it, so we called them out there to stand with us and watch people jumping over that damage from the water main break. So and it worked. So we did finally get them to approve it. So huge shout out to our crews who worked over the weekend to get that done, and to the Water Authority for their willingness to pay and get that temporary fix in. I say temporary because there will be a permanent fix once they're putting together a full engineering, because they're going to have to dig up that intersection, probably dig up a bunch of the earth and stone underneath that was displaced by the water, recompact it, repave it. That's a major project. They're going to go out to an engineering firm, get that design. So hopefully that'll be sometime this summer or fall. It's a shame that intersection was just repaved.
Yep.
And it's going to have to be done again. But like I said, they'll probably pull it all the way back to the crosswalks and redo the whole intersection.
And it needs it.
Yep. All right. That's our last public hearing.
Great. Can we
Take a bio break?
please?
Absolutely.
It's been about 3 hours, so.
Okay, so we will take a, what do you think,
5-5.
Minute break? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What'd you do, Rick? Yard work?
I got the money.
All right,
Okay.
we're ready to resume. Dan Mistrella, IT.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see, where do we leave off? So we'd be, oh, geez, look at that.
Your resolution.
Sorry,
My resolution.
that's you.
Yeah, hold on.
Just do.
Gotta close all my other stuff. Oh, I got it.
Too many other things.
I just had to close down the special use permits. All right. Oh, no, 170 and 172. There we go, 173. Got it. Fellow board members, I have resolution 9-173, 2026 to approve and or ratify the following agreements.
A second.
Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-174, 2026 to authorize bills payable and any associated contracts or agreements for April 16th, 2026 through today, April 29th, 2026.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Nope.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have resolution 9-175, 2026. Whereas the Summit Federal Credit Union has donated $250 to the Henrietta Public Library for summer costume rentals. And whereas a check in the amount of $250 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation. Thanks to Summit Federal Credit Union for their generosity.
Second.
Any comments?
I'm looking forward to seeing the costumes.
I hear we didn't get the caterpillar, so I'm.
No, the very hungry caterpillar was not available, way too high demand, but we did get some of the other kid characters.
Elephant and Piggy.
Elephant and Piggy.
I
That's
can't
great.
wait to see Elephant and Piggy.
All right, hearing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have resolution 9-176, 2026. Whereas Janice Butts has donated $500 to the Henrietta Public Library for the acquisition of electronic books. And whereas a check in the amount of $500 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks Janice Butts for her generosity.
Second.
So Janice has been an annual giver for quite some time, usually to large print books, but now she's gone electronic. So
She discovered the joy of ebook.
that's right, because they can also do large print format.
Nice.
So
The lot more options
Yeah.
that you can have. That's great.
so again, thanks for her continued generosity. Any further questions, comments?
No.
Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-177, 2026. Whereas the Henrietta Public Library Friends and Foundation, Inc. has donated $600 to the Henrietta Public Library for the volunteer recognition event.
$660.
Oh, thank you. $660, excuse me. Whereas the check amount of the amount of for $660 was received by the library director. Therefore, be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges the donation and thanks the Henrietta Public Library Friends and Foundation, Inc. for their generosity.
Second.
Thanks
This,
for the correction.
yeah, this group does a lot for the library and love all that they work on. Any other comments or questions? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 9-178, 2026. Whereas the Friends and Foundation of the Rochester Public Library Grant Fund has donated $54,223.43 to the Henrietta Public Library for the acquisition of collection materials. And whereas a check in the amount of $54,223.43 was received by the library director, therefore be it resolved that the Henrietta Town Board acknowledges this donation and thanks the Friend and Foundation of the Rochester Public Library for their generosity.
Second.
So this is a great program that this group has set up. They have an endowed fund. And then basically the proceeds from that endowment get split up amongst the member libraries, which ours is one of them.
That's great.
You know, so it's a great way to cover the acquisition of collection materials and you know, help
some of the smaller libraries.
Absolutely,
In the region to remain strong.
as well as keep the costs to our residents down for the library. So any other questions, comments? Hearing and being none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Hey, Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-179, 2026 to authorize advertisements of bids on supply and installation of a new playground at Tinker Nature Park.
Second.
So we are replacing the existing playground at Tinker. It's on the eastern side of the park, close to Pittsford Henrietta Town Line Road. The plastic is showing cracks and signs of wear. A lot of the metal components have become rusty, so we're going out to bid and we're looking for ones that are more fitting of the nature park setting. And so we'd gotten a couple quotes, but they were all above the legal dollar amount that requires a bid. So we put together a mini bid and hopefully we'll have responses 3 weeks and we'll be able to get that stuff ordered. So
Great. Looking forward to it.
any other questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-180, 2026 to authorize the advertisement for bids for the senior center building addition project.
Second.
So this has been a lot of work to get to this point, both from a design standpoint, figuring out what we want to do. We've got both the architects and the MEP designers, because the building has daisy chain electrical wiring and some potential issues with the fire suppression and stuff. So what we decided to do, in addition, originally we were just expanding the dining area. We decided to also expand the kitchen to the north. So the dining area is expanding to the west. And in that, so half of that new expansion to the north will be the kitchen. The other half will be storage, as well as a large brand new utility space. We can bring all our utilities into one area. We are going to be bringing in 3-phase. So the nice thing is we'll be able to keep the existing electrical service in place. We'll bring in new electrical service to the new expansion, get that up and running. And then, like over the weekend, we can cut service over, or in the evening, we can cut the service over to the new electrical and disconnect the old. So, it's a major project and required a lot of design work to put the stuff to be able to go out to bid. So thanks to everybody who supported this. And especially I'm going to give a special shout out to Luke Bushin, who is the Deputy Director of Engineering and Planning, and he's done a lot of work on this project. As I'll also give a shout out to Wassel and his team, Wassel Goodselak, who's our Deputy Commissioner of Public Works. If you've noticed, they've already started to take down the break wall. They've already started to do some of the work because we're going to have to cut into that hill, both to make room for the expansion, also as to bring in the new utilities. So
That's great.
any other questions?
They're using all that space at the same center.
They are.
Growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and as we, have a couple additional senior housing projects coming down the pipeline, then the new expanded space will be used quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you said when they change the electrical, or they can do that on the weekend, but during construction, are they gonna be able to stay open?
Yes. So what we will do is there will be so the kitchen, we're gonna leave the current exterior wall in place, build a new addition onto it. Once that's fully enclosed, we'll then take down a portion of that interior wall. Because there's a portion is gonna remain where the counters currently are, but then we're gonna open that up. But we'll build the new space out first before we open that up there. Again, it won't be disruptive other than maybe for a day or two.
Gotcha.
For the western expansion, they're actually going to build a demising wall, temporary wall. So they'll basically build a wall just inside. Okay. Build that all the way up, and then they'll take down the outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great.
So if you remember when we had to replace that one air conditioning unit, we bought a new unit. It was a heating and air conditioning. We bought a new unit that was larger. We couldn't hook the air conditioning up because it didn't have enough voltage. But we hooked the heating up to heat this winter. We're going to now remove that, get it out of the way. And that will actually be then placed in service at the on the new wing to air condition up that new larger space. So,
Right.
Right.
Good planning.
any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have Resolution 9-181, 2026, to authorize the supervisor to sign a decommissioning agreement for the Green Spark Solar Energy Facility located at 320 Mark Road.
Second.
So the decommissioning agreement, basically, they have to provide the money in the event that the project ever goes bankrupt or whatever. There's people who fear about them leaching into the soil. When a facility is active, nothing leaches into the soil. And when it's active, if one of their panels dies, they'll see the decreased output and replace it. The only time they become problematic is they sit inactive for years. And so the idea of the decommissioning is we have the money up front. If they should ever abandon the project, we can pull up, it covers the cost of pulling the stuff out. It's less than you think because we don't allow them to cement these things in. They either have to just be pile driven or augered, as in they'd have their own screw on there and just twist it and put it in post. So it's not that difficult to remove them. But we want to have that cost so it doesn't fall, that burden doesn't fall on the taxpayer. Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. I'll just add that that is a requirement before they can get their building permit.
Yeah.
So
Okay, Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-182, 2026. To authorize the purchase of 3 new snowplow right side wings for the highway department.
Second. So after this season ended, our general services garage went through all the equipment. Is refurbishing any that can be refurbished. There were 3 that were just corroded beyond repair. And so we're replacing those for a combined cost of just over $13,000. So pretty good value. And again, those are the only 3 that were essentially beyond repair. Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 9-183, 2026 to authorize the tax certiorari settlement with McDonald's Corporation for 45 J. Scuddy Boulevard.
Second.
So it was actually the McDonald's Corporation that challenged all of their assessments. This one we were able to, when I say we, I mean our assessor and her team were able to settle this where there won't be any refunds, and it's actually a short duration. So this was a very good job of getting it to settlement and done. So with minimal impact on the taxpayers.
Huge thank you to our assessor for working on that and getting that settled in a manner that's beneficial to us.
Any other questions, comments?
Great job, Amy.
Yep.
Then hearing and seeing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranek,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-184, 2026 to authorize the supervisor to enter into a contract with Young Explosives Inc. or Incorporated for the 2026 4th of July fireworks display.
Second.
So I'll note that this year, since it's our 250th birthday as a country, we upped the dollar amount by about 25%. So it's 25,000 instead of 20,000. So 250th, 225,000 is appropriate. So there will be more fireworks this year than years past. There was some discussion at the workshop about the problems we experienced last year with some of the falling debris. Unfortunately, very unusual. The wind was coming out of the east, therefore blowing the stuff back onto the crowds. Typically, there is debris that comes down from fireworks, but normally it's over that ball field, and no one's worse for the wear. So what we will do is we'll keep an eye out on the winds this year, and if they happen to be out of the east again, hopefully not, we'll make an announcement and let people know that there might be an issue. So if you've got small kids or anyone who might be concerned about some of the debris coming down, that they know they might want to move back. But unfortunately, there really isn't any way to prevent that other than to not shoot fireworks.
Has Young Explosives, were they made aware of the situation?
They were.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. No, unfortunately, we didn't. It came further west than we expected, or else we would have done the announcement. So even if we don't, if the wind is at all out of the east, we'll give that warning, even if it's not going to potentially reach the crowds. There was another year where the winds were lightly out of the east and they fell into the road and not onto the hill. But with the heavier winds out of the east last year, obviously the debris was reaching the people, so it was problematic. The other thing we can take a look at, if they really know that it's coming, we'll see if they can push the displays further back, although a lot of them takes a long time to set up. There are some that are on essentially
Stands of some
cards
sort.
that they might be able to push further back. They normally have them where they are because, again, the prevailing wind is almost always out of the west, and you have to have enough space so that it's not falling on the apartments to the east. So, that's the unfortunate thing. Before those apartments were there, they could push it back further into the ball field. So even if the wind was out of the east, it would fall into the ball field. With those apartments there, they can't do that anymore. They have to kind of split the difference between the two. So, like I said, hopefully the winds will be out of the west and we won't have any issues. But this year, if they are out of the east, we will warn.
Good idea.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley.
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik.
Aye.
Councilmember Owens.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Fellow board members, I have Resolution 9-185, 2026 to declare items surplus materials for the Henrietta Public Library.
Second.
Any questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley.
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik.
Aye.
Councilmember Owens.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor, fellow town board members, I have Resolution 9-186, 2026 to appoint Shanna Baratot to the Henrietta Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
So Shanna was part of the applicant pool when we advertised beginning of this year, end of last year, beginning of this year, for the open spot that was there at the beginning of the year. We just had another member, John Migliori, resigned. And so she will be finishing his unexpired term. I'd like to thank John for all of his time serving on the board. And understand that it's become more difficult for him to attend, so we appreciate him resigning. So rather than have absences, that we have somebody who can fill. And we were all very impressed with Shauna. Last go around, we had two extremely qualified candidates. Very fortunate to have them both apply, and so now they will both be on the board.
I'd like to say thanks to John, too. I served with John on the zoning board. He always did a great job. Thanks for your service, John.
And I'd like to thank John also. I'm the liaison for the zoning appeals. And like to thank him for his years of service.
All right, any other questions, comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley.
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford.
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik.
Aye.
Councilmember Owens.
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have Resolution 9-187, 2026 to authorize the supervisor to sign the First Amendment of the property sale agreement with Roxbury Dome Partners LLC, extending the agreement for the Dome Arena should the town be awarded the funds to make the purchase.
Second. So this is an agreement we put in place last year when we were pursuing the Dome Arena as part of the 2025 BRICS grant. We were not awarded that grant. In fact, nobody in the Finger Lakes region, and I think only one project in all of Western New York received funding, which, as you can imagine, the politicians were not happy about. Hopefully there will be a little bit of a pendulum swing in 2026, and we can get some funding. We also are pursuing congressionally directed spending through Representative Joseph Morelli's office. So that's already in, but we will pursuing the 2026 Bricks grant. So this basically just extends it. They agreed to the same price. It's just extending the term. So, and I will also note, while not directly related to this, it has to do with the dome. We did have a meeting with promoters who used to do the concert promotions for the dome, especially back during the days of when it was the Monroe County Fairgrounds. For instance, you probably have heard me mention that Taylor Swift actually played the dome in 2006. Well, they were the ones who signed her. Now they really signed Rascal Flatts, and she was the opener. But we've been talking with them. They're going to put in two proposals to us. One will be that they would pay us a fixed annual amount that would essentially cover their rent, and they would be the exclusive promoters for concerts and shows. Like they're also the ones who brought the Van Gogh exhibit. So the other proposal would be where they would essentially pay rent. They wouldn't necessarily be exclusive, but they would pay rent on a per show basis as they bring shows in. They seemed very excited about the potential. We'll have internal discussions. We'll look at the proposals and see which route we want to go. If they are the exclusive, they will also make improvements, such as putting in the collapsible bleachers. They'll put in new ones. The old ones were removed. I think they experienced an end of life. So they'll put in new ones. They'll put in a new, I'll call it a permanent stage. It's not quite the right term, but it's a stage that would stay up most of the time and would only be removed if necessary. But as I pointed out, all the uses that we want to use it from a civic space standpoint, a stage is a bonus, right? It's if the high school is doing graduation, you want a stage. If we're doing our pride event, we want a stage. So I think it actually could work out well. So we'll see what their offers are. From the dollar amounts, I don't want to say them here. I don't have a hard dollar amount. I was just in judging the general terms. Now I will also say that this guy was a consummate salesman. So what they say and what they put in writing are not necessarily the same thing. We will paper the you-know-what out of this, to quote Frank from and Bergia from the Rockberry Dome Partners, because again, they're promoters. But the nice thing is that could provide all of the additional revenues we would need to cover the additional cost of opening that facility as a recreation and community space. It would include a bunch of uses by the town and the school district, essentially for free because it's our facility. But my point is we would, schedule those. They were talking 60 to 70 events per year. And again, it would only be the dome portion because Minette Hall would become our future recreational and community space. I will obviously wait to see what the stuff is going. I personally am leaning more towards the annual fee, not only because of the improvements that they make, but because from a budgeting standpoint, it's known, and that's also attractive to them. They know what their target is. There would be, we did talk about a community benefit agreement because the large events are going to have, fire, ambulance, sheriff show up. So we've talked about that. They would cover that stuff. They would also cover the additional electricity used during the concert, stuff like that. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll see what the offers look like, but that's encouraging. And then what our plan is when we get that and decide which one we like, we would approve that, even though we don't own the dome today. And Frank and Bergia from Roxbury Dome Partners has agreed that they will, obviously will have to both agree to the one we want. Once we have that, we'll both agree to it. They'll get started now under Frank. He'll be the one getting that revenue. And then when the dome sells, it would come to us. But this way, they've already started to build up that the use of the venues, that base stuff, by the time we take it, and that way it's going full force. So I think that's really exciting, and we'll see what happens. Again, these very successful promoters in the Rochester Buffalo region, and they're very excited about the dome because it's a size venue that a lot of these shows want to hit, and that there just aren't a lot of them around. It hits a really good cost capacity point for them.
So I see, I guess my one biggest concern is I think about what happened at the Armory, with that one being used as an event space, and obviously they're going to have to just control the crowds and all of that. I think the dome is probably a better space than the Armory was. I think it's more spacious inside, and has better exits.
It has a lot of access, thankfully. So, part of that will come, and again, the fire marshal will be on top of that to make sure with the location of the stage that it's not lacking access to any of those fire exits. The other thing I talked to him about too is that we want to keep there is a garage door entrance on the south side. We want to keep that around, so that, because one of the other things I did talk to them about, in addition to our regular use, that God forbid we ever have another pandemic, it would be a point of distribution. So again, you could get the vaccines, or like if there was a hepatitis B outbreak and they needed to supply the medicines for that, we could do that. In addition, currently the high school is the point of congregation. Should there be, as one of 5 or 6 points of congregation, should there be a incident in a nuclear plant. I'd rather it be the dome, because if that incident ever occurs while school's in session, that's going to be really disruptive to the school. I'd rather it be the dome, because the chances that there's some event going on at that time is highly unlikely, unless it's potentially on the weekends, but we'd figure it out. So, any other questions, comments? Then hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Fellow board members, I have resolution 9-188, 2026, to authorize the town to create a dedicated miscellaneous funds for contributions in support of a dog shelter managed by the town.
Second.
So this is one of New York's new rules. All of our dog license stuff has to have an ability for residents to contribute additional monies towards the dog shelter, and that can only be used for things that are not already funded, if you will. So it can't be for food or electrical or stuff like that. It would be for new bedding or toys or stuff like, treats, something like that. So I'll note that we already have one of our first contributions, so we will get this fund set up and get the money transferred into it.
I love this idea, because I think being able to have a little fun to give them like toys and comfy beds or whatever, something that we wouldn't necessarily buy for them on a regular money. So I full support of this.
All right. Hearing and seeing nothing further, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Mr. Supervisor and fellow board members, I have resolution 9-189, 2026, to acknowledge receipt of the March 2026 revenue and expense report.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye.
Supervisor
Actually, I just noticed, it doesn't say it in the title, but I'll note that it also acknowledges the receipt of the March 2026 monthly town clerk report.
Oh, yeah.
So in addition to the revenue expense reports.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah. It didn't say that in the title. I just noticed it at the bottom, so.
I second that. Supervisor Schultz and fellow board members, I believe I have the last resolution of the night,
Mhm.
9-190, 2026, to hire personnel to make the attached changes.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing and seeing none, please call the roll.
Councilmember Barley,
Aye.
Councilmember Stafford,
Aye.
Councilmember Safranik,
Aye.
Councilmember Owens,
Aye.
Supervisor Schultz.
Aye. Do we have any committee or miscellaneous reports from the board?
I do. Too long ago, I was able to tour the CHS facilities, and it's really pretty impressive. A lot of the work that they do. And they also do a lot of coordination with the fire department. And if anyone is unaware, they do offer free CPR classes to residents of Henrietta. They recently partnered with the RIT ambulance and with Henrietta Fire to cover emergency medical services for the Imagine RIT Festival. There are no major issues, thankfully, except for the lovely weather that we had. They also participated in a mass casualty incident training with Henrietta Fire. And their call volumes and staffing levels have remained consistent, with over 99% of their calls covered by their own agency. From the Youth Board and Parks and Rec, they are looking for volunteers for the Kicking Hunger 5K. So if you are available, I'm sure they would appreciate if you could volunteer. It is being held on Saturday, June 6th at 8 a.m. You should reach out to the rec center or to Anita Tikachek to volunteer. If you want to register to run, it's at runsignup.com. I am planning, not running, but I'm going to walk. I'm planning to walk this year. And just be aware that there will be some road closures in effect along Culkins Road, Strawberry Hill, Wildflower, Chiltern, and Beaconsfield. The Youth Board is working on the Juneteenth event, which is scheduled for Friday, June 19th at the amphitheater. And the Parks and Rec, looks like the summer registration is open at this time for both resident and non-resident, and it fills up quick. So don't hesitate to register. The rec center will be closed on Sunday, May 10th for Mother's Day. And the Memorial Day parade will take place on the weekend before Memorial Day in Henrietta. So it's going to be on May 17th. And finally, for the library, the Friends and Foundation used book sale is this weekend. So all of the book lovers out there should head out to the library. Usually the Friends and Foundation is able to raise about $15,000 a year just from this event. And they also have a very cool adaptive gardening program going on next week. So if you want to learn more about adaptive gardening, particularly maybe for those individuals who are not able to get out there and garden like they used to, this could be a great way to learn how to do that.
My report, next week we have school board meeting. We also have, before our next board meeting, we also have the vote for the budget on May 19th, I believe. On the conservation board, I think I understand they're not meeting this time because they don't have a report, or if they have somebody coming to them. And then also I'm just waiting on the sustainability committee when they'll meet again. And I also want to say I appreciate the Youth Hall of Fame dinner. That was really amazing. I love that. And it's exciting to see all these things going on with the youth.
The Historic Site Committee, been very busy, not only with residents that want to put up barns and stuff like that in a historic nature, but also Tina, our historian in town, had set up a grave cleaning, almost like a clinic over at the senior center last Sunday. It's very interesting. Sometime in the summer, we'll probably have an event where we get to do some cleaning of graves, which is really nice, but it's a really precise procedure that the person went through, and I'm looking forward to participating in that. So I have.
April was firefighter volunteer month. So if anybody's interested in becoming a volunteer, I would say contact the Henrietta Fire District. And I'd like to thank Becky and then the folks in the assessor's office who assisted me. I was looking up some figures on the tax information for the mall. It was very useful, and it wasn't as easy as I anticipated at first, and they were a great assistance. So I want to thank Becky, and then also everybody that does a great job at our assessor's office.
I'll just add that we have a save the date for the Pride event, Monday, June 15th. And we are looking to hold it in the Dome Arena through that new CBA that we signed. So we've just had, at that time, we've had two of the last three. We've had rain issues and had to scramble and get into the rec center at the last minute. The beauty of being inside the dome, will all fit. The acoustics in there are much better than the rec center. So you'll actually be able to hear the performers and understand what the person on stage is saying. And we are even going to look to see if any of the food trucks, if they have electric operation, whether we could actually have them right inside. If not, they'll be just outside. Excited about that, and it'll be an interesting change. What we'll probably do is we'll do the flag raising right outside Town Hall, and then they'll head over to the Dome. Whether that's going to be a parade or not, we'll see. That they may decide to save that for year 2 at the Dome, but planning is just getting underway. So if you're interested in helping plan that, let me know, and I'll put you in touch with the group that does that planning. So the newsletter is at the printers right now, and hopefully will be out before the weekend. And a good portion of it, about half of it, is the stuff from the state of the town, and updates on a lot of which I've given here, but let's just say a very small percentage of our residents actually listen to these meetings. So including it in the town newsletter gets it out to everybody. So
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Steve, I got brought up mentioned the other day. How about the rise in fuel cost, and I would imagine in asphalt and everything else with the rising price. How are we budgeted for that? Or do we have?
So, fortunately, a lot of the plowing was tailing off as the fuel prices were rising, so that was helpful. Asphalt prices are going way up. Now, the expectation is they're going to be very high in May and early June, and potentially start to come down in July and be down in August. Now, obviously, what's happening in the Strait of Hormuz will play a big part of that. But they're anticipating that should be cleared up by then. So what they are probably going to be doing is there's different types of road work we're doing in that not schedule, but the list of which roads are getting the pavement repaved or just pavement treatments. That's in the newsletter. They'll probably do the treatments that require less oil. and therefore will be less costly. They'll be doing like some of the work we're gonna be doing over at the, as part of that $3.2 million pro housing grant we got. A lot of the stone work, stone hasn't gone up. So they'll just try to work the schedule to avoid the more petroleum heavy, which is the full pave, mill and repave. That's what's going to be the most, is going to be, see the biggest increase. So.
I just, with fuel prices going up, 25%?
Yeah,
in the last.
no, it's tough. And it's not just the fuel prices, there's material. It's, in fact, we just ran into that, forgot what it was, but there's one of the things that the component for the dog shelter that, oh, by the way, comes through the Strait of Hormuz. So they're basically with some of the stuff they have to find alternatives. So
anything petroleum based, basically.
It's not just petroleum based. There's other products that come out of that region. One of them, I forgot what type of, it's based off of, I don't remember if it was some kind of nut, of a nut, a tree that grows in the Middle East. And
who would have thought?
And so
Could be almonds.
I don't think it was, I don't know. I don't remember. It's the problem of getting old. Used to have a steel trap. But like I said, it's definitely an issue. I mean, we saw it with the dog shelter. The dog shelter, which should have been $1 million project, came in at 1.4.
Wow.
And so we had to scramble and find additional funding, and thankfully, Assemblymember Bronson was able to help, and we were able to get an additional town to come in and help bring those costs down. So,
Right.
As well as we looked at value engineering ways to reduce the cost. So, but it's definitely a challenge that pretty much everybody's facing. So we definitely stay on top of it. One of the things we are doing that will help is, so our superintendent of highways, Craig Barber, and his team, they looked at, instead of paying contractors to run the paving machine, we have 2 individuals capable of operating that equipment. So we're renting that paver, and that should save about $60,000 to $70,000 in paving costs. So that should hopefully be enough to cover the increase in the fuel and petroleum surcharges. So, but again, we're still going to try to schedule things to minimize the impact on the heavy paving. Any other questions, comments?
Thank you.
Anything from the public? I've got a thumbs up sign from our one resident left in the back. Started with a full house. We had to pull additional chairs down. Now we're down to 1 resident and 3 interpreters. Well, 2 interpreters and an observer. With that, oh, look at that.
Did we miss something?
No, I do. We're going to adjourn to an executive session. Sorry. Totally forgot about that.
Surprise to all of us.
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
Is it?
Not like we have any place to go.
I know. The restaurants have all closed, so it has to do with an investigation of a criminal offense.
It is.
Okay.
I just wanted to keep you guys up to date. So, but we will not be returning to open session after that. So we will adjourn to executive session and then
You do realize it's not on our sheet, right?
It is on our.
It is on.
It is on our sheets, guys.
Oh,
Item number.
no, cow.
He hit it.
I did it all.
He hit it from himself, I think.
Yeah, I totally forgot about it till I saw it.
All right, so be it.
So I make a motion that we adjourn to executive session.
Second.
And so again, we will adjourn to executive session. We will not return to open session. So thank you.